kind of apply it to abstracta and concreta in some way, right? So the idea is that if we can discover numbers, right, and we can engage with these abstract objects, isn't discovering and engaging some type of causal relation, right? But however, abstracta is taken to be something, to be an object that doesn't engage in causal relations, right? So how does that interaction, or how do we discover or engage causally with these abstractas, right? That's the idea, and it's something known as the Bernousseris problem. That's what Alex was saying, and I've been having a question about this for a couple of days now, and I don't know what I want to say in regards to it, because I kind of took an intuitionist approach unknowingly, right, and said that they were just things that constrained our intuitive faculties, right, or restricted our thinking in some way. But that, from what I know now, that's not a position I want to uphold to anymore.
Well, look into that Bernousseris thing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to just start doing some independent work.
Looks like he wrote a paper called "What Numbers Could Not Be."
Even though these problems are annoying, these problems are actually pretty fun to engage with within philosophy, because like the type of feeling you get when you figure out a worldview that succeeds is pretty cool. So I like that.
What do you mean by succeeds?
Succeeds in that, let's say if you have like let's say if you have like a problem, right, within philosophy. Let's say this, right? So imagine, let's take something like the materialist implication rule, right? Now, for something like the materialist, no, that's not a good example. That's not a good example at all. Let's just take like a paradox, right, within philosophy, right? And there's different ways we can interpret that paradox, right, or solve the paradox, right? And so or like a problem in philosophy, and when you figure out like a worldview that kind of works out in solving that paradox, but is coherent and stuff like that, it's a good feeling. That's all I'm saying. Pogan.
Okay.
Maybe succeed wasn't the most adequate or advantageous word to use in that scenario.
It's odious.
That's just orthogonal, man.
Orthogonal Yuri.
What does Alex think about the rule following argument as a defeating for natural?
Oh, I'm pretty sure Alex Malpass thinks that there's certain things that exist that can't be reducible to the physical either. So I mean, presumably he uses the rule following argument, since the rule following argument is I think the best argument, in my opinion, for this, but I know of. But you're gonna have to ask Alex. But I'm pretty sure he agrees with me and Jack on this issue.
He left.
Well, you think he's on a train?
He is on a train.
He's on a bullet train. Ray, do they have like super fast trains like in London, in that area?
No, they're shit.
They're shit. Gotcha.
Yeah, the train system here is complete dog shit. There's only certain parts of the line where the fast trains can even go up near their maximum speed, because the rails are decrepit and worn out.
Sorry
yeah, he's talking about we have there's certain carriages where they're quiet carriages where you can't talk on your phone, or you can't like listen to fucking Netflix and shit like that.
Wait, what do you mean you can't listen to Netflix? Who's going to hear your headphones?
Well, you can use headphones, Yuri.
Oh, okay, cool. But wait, what idiot like play in any like cabin of the train? Like what idiot like plays Netflix or watches any video on the train without headphones?
Have you ever been on a train?
Yeah, and everyone like wears headphones.
Yeah,
or
but
something.
look, this is the same type of individual that I've seen who goes into a gym and puts their phone down and starts playing their obnoxious rap music like full blast through their phone or speaker or whatever, and they're just oblivious to other people not wanting to hear their shit.
Yuri, you can full on drink on the trains here. You can like get on a train and drink and be completely fucking pissed.
Jack, what did you
Hmm.
think of Darth's most recent meltdown? Did you listen to the whole thing?
That seemed like maybe more than anything I've ever heard. Like he was actually like slurring his speech.
Yeah, he struggled with the word audio at some point. Quite badly.
Yeah, he's always stuttering a lot. He gets that mad.
I noticed he's been stuttering more since he's been getting older.
I went into Blue Politics to listen a little bit. He was doing a really strange voice. Sometimes he does weird voices, right? This was the strangest I've heard. Didn't sound like him at all. So, I mean, I can't even describe it.
Have you ever debated Darth before, JJ?
I've talked to him the first time, and then very briefly a couple other times when he just decided he wouldn't even talk to me. The first time I talked to him, he asked me if I could account for why an apple was an apple. Right? And so I just kept asking him back incredulously, are you really asking me to account why something is what it is? And he got frustrated.
Oh, Jack is here. I wanted to ask Jack something. So you know, how Dee has this line where he asks the person to justify causality. You remember? You know how he always says that, like
Yeah.
causal relations. And the person wants to say something like, "Well, I observe causal relations," and then he says, "Well, that's just begging the question." I mean, but what if you said something like a modus ponens argument, like, if I can perceive causal relations exist, I can perceive, therefore causal relations exist. What do you think he would say to that?
I think he would just say that perception is causal. So, and that causal relations aren't the kinds of things that are perceived; they're inferred.
Yeah, Jack, he's probably. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Yuri.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it's best when it comes to like things like causality, Jack. It's best to like instead of using like sense perception or like perception or whatever, right? It's best just to move causality as like a conceptual thing, right? Or like a conceivability, right, Jack?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Maybe I need to articulate
Well,
it
that's a
better.
good point, DGH. But yeah, I mean, most people want to say like, look, I mean, it doesn't have to be the case that you observe like a Rube Goldberg machine to perceive causation. You could just perceive anything. You could perceive just blackness, right?
Yes.
But the point is that if we can perceive causation necessarily exists. You don't observe like causation, like, look, I'm looking at the dominoes, therefore causation exists. Perception is the evidence that causation exists.
I think his whole argument always the ultimate authority argument he reuses all the time.
I can't hear
Right.
you. You're too quiet. Sorry.
Yeah. I think the best thing to do is just say that you take causation, right, to be like some sort of law-like relation, right? And then when he's probably going to ask you some sort of question, right? And then you can just say what accounts for that law. He's probably going to ask you something like that. And then you can just say, because he wants to bring it back to like some sort of uniformity of nature, right? But you can just say that laws just exist independent, right? Because God can't be the being that accounts or like provides for the uniformity of nature or like those laws or causality, right? Since laws by definition exist prior to an agent, right? So either Darth is rejecting the notion, right, of God being an agent, right, which I don't think he wants to do, or he's just saying that God's a mechanism, and in that case, the conversation's just over. But he would never just admit that, and he'll probably just get frustrated when you point that out to him, right? I don't know what Jack thinks, but that's how Josh explained it to me once.
Well, he'll call
Seems
you a
to me-
troll. Certainly.
Right. Because by definition, in order for you to engage with like anything causal or for any agent to do anything, there has to be some sort of law that exists prior to the agent, because that's how laws are defined to be and how laws are meant to be.
That's
I would
what
just
I was
define
saying.
causality as a law.
That's what I was saying to him. It seems that if you're not going to claim an ultimate authority, then he's just going to dodge.
Jack, was my analysis correct?
I didn't follow it.
Yeah, I probably, because of the way I explained it, but let me talk directly to you, right? You could just say that causality, right, is a law-like relation or some sort of law that causality exists, right? I mean, you could just say that laws, right, exist independent, right? They exist independent by themselves because they're laws, right? And so he might say, but what accounts for that law, right? Like, what makes that law a law, right? And you could just say that it's incoherent to say that God is like accounts for like or is the grounding for like the uniformity of nature or causality, right? Since laws by definition are prior to action or prior to agent, right? You see what I'm saying, Jack?
Not really.
I just don't understand, like, if I give him the argument as I laid out, what premise is he gonna have issue with?
Which argument?
If I can perceive causality necessarily exists, I can perceive causality exists.
I don't know what it means to say you perceive causality. The point about causal relations is that they're not perceived, right? Or at least that's sort of the standard idea. I mean, there are people who've contested it, but the idea is that we see conjunctions of events and we infer a cause.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that you should just infer the cause, right? Due to explain this to me before, right? So like if we take time, right, the succession of time, we just take that to be a constant conjunction of events, right? And from that constant conjunction of time, we take causality to be inferred from that notion. Right? And that's why a theory of time is incoherent under our view, right? Or atemporal causation. Right, Jack?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, under that view, right? The reason why causality would be inferred is because we take time, right, to be a constant conjunction of events, and from that, like what we believe right there, that's also why, under our view, we take like things like atemporal causation, right, to be incoherent, right?
Well, if you thought that causation was just a type of constant conjunction, then atemporal causation would be incoherent.
Right, exactly. Okay. Right. But Jack, I'm surprised. But wait, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you haven't heard this objection before, because Josh uses the same objection, right? And that has to do with, like, let's say things like the uniformity of nature, right? And Darth will typically say something like God is the grounding, or like accounts for like the uniformity of nature, right? Because he's like an ultimate absolute or whatever, right? And I'm just saying the things like uniformity of nature are law-like, or they're laws, right? Or uniformity of nature is a law, right? And so God can't be the personal absolute, the impersonal absolute, the personal absolute for like the uniformity of nature, right? Because we take laws to exist prior to action, right? Or prior, right, to an agent, to exist prior to an agent, right? You understand what I'm saying, Jack?
No.
Oh man. Come on, this isn't hard done. Wait, just give me the best charitable interpretation of what you think I'm saying.
I really have no idea what you're saying.
God damn it.
DGH, I mean, that's what Darth has this thing. He's talking about perceiving causation, but I'm just saying that perception itself is proof of causation.
Man, Philip is sniping me from the text chat, man.
I mean, I don't have to see or perceive a line of dominoes falling one after another. I can simply perceive a domino, and that's proof of causation.
Atemporal causation is nonsense.
Right, no, I agree. I think atemporal causation is nonsense. That's also, I think William Lane Craig.
Tom, you can't think of perceiving that in a completely random world? You couldn't think of having that perception in a completely random world?
What does random mean here?
Uncaused.
Yeah, random just means uncaused. They're like just spontaneous, right? So like
There's going to be no
pop.
contradiction between
Right.
you having all the same beliefs and you having the same perceptions you have now in a completely random world.
Right, because like let's say it's like some entity or object like just pops into existence, right? And then Tom perceives that object, right? Then under Tom's view, right, he would just infer or just assume, right, that thing that just popped into existence was caused by something, right? Even though that wouldn't be the
Well,
case in that
my
world.
perception of it is also random, like the light going
Yeah.
into my eye, blah blah blah.
Well, we wouldn't say the light caused your perception in that world. You just had a perception. You have the same beliefs. You have a perception. It's not caused.
I don't even know what cause means here now then.
Yeah.
It just means causation is just, like Jack said, a constant conjunction of events, right? So we typically think of events that are some sort of antecedent, right? An antecedent interacts with something or some object, right? And that antecedent would be known as like a cause, right?
I mean, you're just talking about something different, because in the context that I was discussing, both Darth and his interlocutor would both agree that perception or sight is a causal notion.
Yeah, but Jovonn, aren't you just saying one of Darth's kind of that's one of his arguments? He says that we can't tell the difference between a law-like universe and one that's completely random.
No, this is actually an argument against Darth.
Yeah, I
Or
know, but well, you're asking him how would he respond to that argument?
well, no, I'm just saying that's to say that Tom's saying there's a contradiction. Tom must be saying there's like a contradiction between him being able to perceive and a non-causal world. Because he's saying because he perceives, that's proof that there's causation. But I'm just saying that that's not the case because we can think of a world.
The premise one is if I can perceive, then causal relations.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Necessarily exist.
That premise, I don't see how that premise is sound because.
Well, the point is that it's gonna be something that Darth agrees to. Because Darth says that you can't have perception without causal relations. Now, if you would just want to say that, like, in a chance universe, we could have all the same things, yeah, that's fine. But it's in response to one of Darth's arguments.
That might be fine then, as long as you're like taking one of his assumptions and showing a problem with.
Yeah.
Boom.
By the way, does anybody have the recording of because I think this is probably one of the most damning pieces of tape against Darth's views, that I'm pretty sure that there was a recording of him saying that he could have all the same beliefs that he currently does in a chance universe. And that just nukes everything. That's a nuke.
That's pretty dumb.
That was something I brought up to him, but I can't for the life of me remember where it was recorded.
Or if it was recorded. I don't think I've ever heard him say it. I heard others recount it, though. Right. Did you hear a recording of it, or were you there?
No, I heard him actually say it.
Yeah.
He's like done everything wrong, and there's a recording of it at least once. Like, did he like affirm the consequent once? And that's like a DGH made a video of him doing like everything you can mess up on. He's done. There's a recording of.
How could I not know of my own like qualia?
I didn't know Tom accepted qualia.
Well, I'm just using it in place of like having an experience like of perception.
Oh no, is gonna be an odd word there, right? Like there's no like justification there. You're just experiencing, right? You're not like reasoning towards it. Just experiencing. But that experience that you feel, you can think of like situations in which that's not. It's the word I'm looking for. I just woke up.
I think it's right.
Jovonn's probably sitting at his computers in like his underwear, tank top.
Yeah.
Nobody has this. Nobody has this clip, because this is like we need to find this clip. It's the whole. It's just so funny.
You should ask Josh where that is.
Why do you think he knows?
You know, now I'm starting to think that I did hear it. At being asked the question, him saying, "Yeah."
What was it? He claimed again that you guys are discussing.
Okay, all right. So he basically agreed that he could have all the beliefs. He could think everything that he does now. He could think, such and such was revealed to him. Everything. All in a chance world.
Yeah, he was asked directly, could you have all the same beliefs that you hold now in a chance world?
And this story is him saying that he knows. He's admitting that he no longer has that justification. He could be wrong.
Right.
Right. Right. He has nothing to stand on because he doesn't know if he has a foundation. At that point, I understand.
And I mean, how would he say? He would have to deny it, but how could he deny it? I mean, what would be the argument? There's
He
gonna have to be
can't.
some kind of contradiction that you can't have X beliefs. You know, it's ridiculous. It would have to be some sort of internal critique, but the question is asking if this externally is possible.
So I'm trying to think of the background behind that, because he would ask others how they knew they were in a causal world. Something like that.
Didn't DGH do a video on that or something? DGH would probably know.
Some of that background, yeah.
Well, from what I remember, he used to use it as the theta, right? So when he asked the atheist how did all this come about, and they said they don't know, and he'd say, "Oh, it's just by chance or whatever," and then he'd tack that on to, well, if it's just by chance, then you could be wrong, and if you could be wrong, then it's not necessary, and blah 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 blah. But Alex Malpass, when he was talking to Darth, actually pointed out the interesting thing, which was, you could be right. You could have all the correct beliefs simply by chance. And once you had rationality by chance, then you were rational. So he couldn't even defeat it from the other point as well.
Chum might be the one that have. Hold on. I'm about to look through the video. Someone has that on their shit.
Jesus came to earth to destroy all confusion, to rid your minds of Darwinian evolution.
Jack, you know why guys don't have that in the queue?
What?
You guys don't have that video of Darth saying that he can have all the beliefs in the same one a chance universe that he does now?
What do you mean, do we have?
Do you have the video? Do you know where the video is? I know there's a video.
I don't know where it is, but Josh probably knows.
Let me see.
I have to ask Josh. That's one of the best videos, in my opinion. Then, that just make Darth's position look stupid. That's a nuke.
Yeah, he had to leave. Well, I think he went quiet and then left because he said, "Can you have all the beliefs in?" He was asked, "Can you have all the same beliefs in a chance universe?" And he said, "I don't see why not." So then he was asked how he knew that God exists and all that, and so then he gave some thing about the revelation or whatever, and so Josh just said, "So wait a minute, all you've done is appeal to more beliefs, right?" and so then he realized that he had fucked up, and so I don't remember exactly, but he basically shut down in that.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have flashed out briefly, but he basically just shut down because he couldn't answer the objection.
Yeah, because they're just gonna. Well, how do you know? The question is, well, how do you know you're not in a chance universe then? Well, then he's just gonna be like, oh, it's been revealed to me, but that falls under the set of beliefs that could come about in a chance universe.
Yeah, no, that was very humiliating. We kept repeating that for weeks afterwards. Whenever he would turn.
Yeah, that needs to be revisited, I think.
That was 3 years ago or so.
It was a while ago.
That needs to be revisited. We should have another series on that.
Josh is saying he doesn't know if there's actually a video of it. He's saying Al guy. Al, you're the one that was talking to him at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
Huh.
Do you know if anybody was recording that?
Nah, usually I'm on my phone for these kind of things, man. So like, I have no idea what's going on.
It was a Google Hangout.
It wasn't a hangout.
It wasn't a hangout?
It
No.
was. What?
No, it was a Discord, I thought.
Yeah, it was in Discord.
I was there when it happened.
Are you? I could swear it was a Google Hangout. Towards the end. If you were there, it would have to be towards the end. But I guess maybe
This
it's
is all
just-
blurry to me. I
What
remember
server
the
would it
video.
have been in? Like it couldn't have. It wasn't in Krillism.
Yeah, it was in Krillis.
That's hard to believe. All right.
Really? How?
I
You
think
sure?
I think it could have been a Bacon Bone recording.
Seems like it was older than that.
Well, we could just ask him again.
Yeah. Like when somebody asked him about a possible world, and he yelled, "There's only one possible world, the one that we're in."
I like it when he messes up and he goes, mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. He knows he's toasted. He knows.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to affirm it, but his ain't no bitch won't let him stop. Yeah, I think the video's lost forever. If there was one.
Alex, are you sure that was in Discord?
Jesus.
I mean, it could have been because Krillism recorded most of his under a period of recording, like all the Discord chats, didn't they? So
That's not what I'm asking though. I'm asking
It
if you remember
definitely
it
was
being
in Discord.
in Discord.
It seems like he answered your question still. What?
I might pay a midget to strangle JJ.
A midget?
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Answer.
I don't know why
I mean,
Alex
you won't ever
responded that
expect a
way.
midget to like jump up and start strangling. You'll be completely
true.
unguarded
That's
until
true.
the moment where his hands are wrapped around your neck.
Yeah, those hands are gonna wrap around my neck. That's
Oh, he has
just
big hands.
Fucking absurd.
He has normal sized hands, JJ. He's just everything else is small.
They'd have to be oversized hands.
Yeah, I like that Jovonn modified it to just normal size. He's like, let's not be crazy here. Holy crap.
Crazy.
Landon. Thought I heard Landon. The
Yo,
fuck?
what's up, blood?
What? Your name's the Lone Wanderer? What the fuck?
What's up?
Hello.
Heard you was gonna hire some midgets to strangle JJ.
Dang, I uploaded that video like just a couple hours ago. It's already got 1.2k views.
Yeah, we were promoting it in politics.
Wait, what
To be
video?
fair.
Shamos video.
The Darth Dawkins tantrum video from yesterday.
The one where you can only hear him?
That's at the end.
Well, I put the whole arc together. So before, and then the mods chastising him, and then him lying about it, and then going back in his room, and then the private call, and then the talk with the sycophants afterwards.
He lied about it?
Well, I wouldn't say it. Well, he was asked, "Hey, did you say this to this person?" And he goes, maybe by accident."
Call him he called him a faggot. Or fag.
Yeah, there's a recording of that. Maybe by
It's-
accident.
Yeah, he said, "Did you use a banned word?" And he said, "Maybe by accident."
I don't even think he would have got the ban if he'd like just listened up, because if you hear in the video they say find the guy and apologize to him, and like it's at that point he sort of blows up and he's like, "No, fuck off, you're a fucking troll mod." It's
Could someone link the Tom video? Because I haven't heard it all together.
Yeah.
It's pinned.
Oh, thank you.
How do you look at pins and
I'll just
Tom,
give you
did
a
you
link, Joe.
record the Seamus thing yesterday?
Yeah, we listened to it this morning.
Seamus? Oh.
Yeah.
So is he banned again, Tom?
I don't think he was ever unbanned. I think he just came in a suck account.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Do you have a link to it? Or you haven't? You're not uploading that.
I just remember him mentioning last night. Someone was like, "I'm glad you're back." And he's like, "Well, I'm not back." He's like, "I'm only here until Tom or Seth finds out."
He said that.
Yeah, he goes. That's exactly what he said. He's like, "I'm not really back." He was like, "I'm just here until Tom." He's like, "I'm sure Tom or Seth finds out that I'm back," and then he's like, "And then I'm sure I'll be."
Yeah, the link is in the chat. It's like 6 messages up.
He also asked us to talk to Tom and Seth to get him unbanned.
I mean, all I told him was that, hey, you just have to work it out with Seth. That doesn't entail kissing the hand or an even apology or some kind of like bending the knee or anything. You just probably has to say to Seth like, hey, yeah, I understand that if I do that again, I'll be banned. I won't mention anything about personal details or whatever. That's it. I mean, Seth has pretty much said the same thing. I don't know. It's just an ain't no bitch prime directive thing. So, if you want, go tell Shamos that. But it's really it's really nothing that's extraordinary that's being asked of him.
Yeah.
No,
I reiterated it to him in the YouTube chat yesterday also.
I mean, he just won't even talk to Seth, right? Or he would have found that out. He's asking other people to be his intermediaries.
Well, I think he thinks it's not that simple. Based on
No, it's been made quite clear to him that I've told him
crazy.
directly basically what I just said.
Yeah. And in fact, what he said was that Tom or whoever is in charge has to come to him.
Yeah.
That's
no.
And ask him to come back? What?
Oh, I see people posting that video in Atheist Helpline links.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I wonder when Danny's gonna come back. Oh, there's Josh. Josh, are you there?
Give me a few minutes. What's up?
Okay, I assume you're just at work, so I'll just ask you the question. You can answer when you're ready. But we were wondering if you know the
I
location.
already talked to him.
Okay,
He said no.
okay, so
And then some of these people come, and if they're not knuckle dragging atheists, they come and they learn a lot. They're like, "Wow, you're nothing like in the video." So yeah, well, you know, when there's mod abuse, I'm gonna get angry.
Oh man.
You'll notice that there's not even substantive rebuttal of the things that I say. There's a couple of attack videos on Darwin's greatest hits, but they're really a quasi rebuttal. The guy who's behind that site, Tom Rabbit, he's an absolute spineless miscreant atheist, because he said that he could defend atheism, and he said he could defend it against me, and yet when I challenged him several times, he refused to, you know, defend his atheism while I was there, because he knows he's going to get ripped to shreds.
Can we say the same about him and Jack?
Rabbit. He's the leader of the atheist cesspool echo chamber. It is.
Yeah,
It is
we're
an
an echo
atheist
chamber, boy.
cesspool. Just a bunch of pervert atheists.
Pervert atheist.
There was somebody earlier. I think he was looking for you. Is Comet still in here? Red Comet. Yeah, I'm here. What was that guy's name earlier? The guy who said he. Yeah,
Oh,
Lucky.
Lucky. Okay, just a little information. This is not private information. Lucky Me has admitted that he suffers from psychiatric problems and that he's on psychiatric meds. When you listen to him, it won't take you long to figure out that this guy has a form of low-level schizophrenia.
Because he was telling us about his experiences or something.
Well, he believe it or not, the guy does have a high IQ, and he paints. I think he's on psychiatric disability. But when you listen to him, he has some videos that he's output of something he read, a book that he wrote. It's just meandering, just nothing. It's just it's like you would listen to a schizophrenic. I even talk to him. I just mute him or turn him down. I actually feel sorry for the guy.
What a pretentious prick.
Yeah.
It's a good use of pretentious.
You know, I spend time in the other rooms. I go into the lion's den, and then the hyena gangbang comes out and tried to verbally assault me and shut me down. But when I'm in here, none of them will come in and present their atheism or challenge my Christianity. They are truly just gutless wonders.
Nobody comes into a room where I have mods and tell everyone to shut up and won't let them speak. He only debates people in a room where he has mods.
I can show you right now. I can go into the other room. I'll go up there. They won't. They'll just trash talk me. They won't respond to anything I say. You guys want to see a live experiment? Okay, we'll go in there. I'll try. Yeah, we'll go up there. What you're gonna see is people will just trash talk me, and they will not intelligently respond to me. All right.
We're going on a field trip, boys.
Is this live?
Yeah.
Oh,
so.
Josh, jump in there and talk to him. Unmoderated.
I'm banned from that. That he won't talk to me, or if I reveal my account in there, he'll just have me banned. He won't participate in that server if I'm allowed to talk.
That's just shows I'm being wrong, though. You're literally just proving wrong right there.
Yeah, but it's not worth it.
He can't
it's not worth getting banned to prove him wrong.
He can't ban you from the server, though.
No, but he'll get Dewey to ban me.
I'll get Dewey to unban you. I guarantee it.
You'll get Dewey to unban? No.
Yes, I guarantee it.
Get him to do it now.
Are you banned right now?
Yeah, on this account. Get him to unban me.
Oh, okay, hold on.
And then I'll go in there.
Is Dewey online right now?
Man, that's gonna take too much time, though.
I don't think he's online right now.
I gotta go in there right now. Jack's calling me. Hold on.
I talked to Dewey in DM. I can show you the messages. It's a prerequisite for EF to engage in that server that I'm banned.
To that guy, he's dumb.
It does. Can you answer one of my questions?
Who's
What's
asking?
your question?
Jovonn.
Jovonn.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jovonn, I guess you have a very poor memory. Didn't I tell you to stop being a troll to me at least a year or two ago?
Oh, he can't answer.
Okay, didn't I tell you to stop being? Okay. Do you remember? Over talk me. I will turn your microphone down to 1%.
And like he'll just say.
Oh, I thought you came up here to talk to atheists.
Do you remember? Do you remember? Okay, it's nice. You know what? It's nice that you have spies in my room and are.
I don't know why you would answer a question.
Gee,
A
how did
man
you know
refuses
that?
to answer
Surprise,
questions.
surprise! You think
Just
I don't know?
Are you a coward?
Now,
Jovonn, don't you have a policy of not
and
answering questions from cowards?
So I'm just
I have a policy of not answering
you
questions
that you're an asshole, and I'm not going to talk with you.
Dorothy, you gonna stop talking for a second?
Okay, there we go. Your turn.
Oh, look at this coward. See, the coward came up here to talk to atheists. He wanted to prove to everyone that he would talk to atheists without being a mod, but he just turned me down because he refuses to talk to me.
Yeah, well, do we have any atheists in here who would like to?
Oh, listen. So he didn't even turn me down. He didn't even turn me down. He just heard every word I said.
Hear what I said.
He's acting as if he turned me down.
I'm a liar as well. A liar as well as a coward. Sorry, go ahead, Jew producer.
I'm an atheist,
making fun of Darth.
Do we have any atheists in here who
about
to explain the coherence of atheism?
Here he comes into
I rest on my presupposed
everyone
axioms.
and calls
I'm
them
a
that
Muslim,
word.
so I'm better.
I'm a sexed up
He
atheist.
just starts
Guys,
attacking.
we were talking about lesbian Nazis in here before you guys came in.
Like
I
as if
believe
he
in
wants. He's like,
Cthulhu.
oh,
Hey,
Darth
everyone said
Vader
Al
also
said he's an
exists.
atheist.
He
Al, Jew
does.
producer
Attack
said
You
he's an
can't find
atheist.
atheists who will defend their
You're
atheism.
saying
You just had
does,
three
like,
people
oh,
speak
hey, I
up
would
and say
defend
they
an atheist.
will.
He just won't talk to them.
He
What a
literally just
coward.
refusing to talk
What
to
a
them.
coward. Gee, I muted all the atheists. No atheists will talk to me. Oh.
Is there any atheists here that will talk to me? Full atheists. Yeah, I'll talk to you, Darth. Yeah, I'll talk to you. No atheists are willing to talk to me. Look at these cowards.
Hey, Darth, I think Jovonn wants to talk to you.
What a joke! I asked him a simple
Well,
question.
Jovonn will talk
you're
to
not familiar
him.
with him. He's not very smart.
Jew producer would talk to him. Yuri would talk to him. JJ would talk to him.
I have a
Anybody.
policy. I don't talk to cowards.
Oh, my bad. Jay has a policy. He doesn't talk to cowards. But
Okay, I'll tell.
most of us other atheists will talk to him.
I'll tell you what. I'll make one exception for you to show my friend here, Jonathan, what a complete atheist moron you are. So tell me about your atheism, Joe.
Oh, you want to answer my question?
Yeah, tell me about your atheism.
Okay, Darth, can you have all the same beliefs you have now in the chance universe?
Okay, I asked you to tell me about your atheism.
Oh, Darth won't answer questions. He's a coward.
What a coward.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm waiting for you to tell me about your atheism.
Darth, can you have all the beliefs you have now in the chance
You're not
universe?
even answering his question, Joe.
No, because some of my
You didn't ask me a question.
I'm answering your question.
He did ask you.
Now,
Wait. Okay, Social Blade. What is this question?
Okay. Now, Jovonn.
Darth. Let Social Blade answer. Social Blade. What is his question? Social Blade.
Listen, this is your last chance.
So he didn't have a question, did he? Social Blade.
If you're going to be
what's
a
the question,
asshole,
Social Blade?
Okay, Social Blade, shut up. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
Jovonn.
Know your place, Social Blade.
Listen to your daddy,
master.
This one chance. I'm going to show you for the fool that you are. No, I could not have all the same beliefs in a chance universe because there are a number of my beliefs. Okay, do you want an answer or do you want to be an asshole?
Go ahead.
Okay, because I know you're an asshole. Maybe you can control it temporarily. Okay?
Oh, just
so the
a
answer
bunch
is
of
no, because in the Christian
name-calling.
world where God exists, some of my most foundational beliefs are God ordained and cannot and would not be the product of spontaneous eruptions.
Just gobbledygook.
Wait, so you
Just a bunch of
couldn't hold that
gobbledygook.
You couldn't hold that proposition in a chance universe? That's what you're saying?
I've already answered the question.
Bunch
that
of
some my
pseudo-religious
foundational
You won't
beliefs
answer the question.
Would be good. Okay, Jovonn. See, everyone, I'm trying to converse with this asshole, and he continues to be an asshole.
Let me respond to what
Now-
you said, Darth. You won't stop talking. Can I respond to what you said, Darth?
Well, you talk over me anyway. Okay, and so if you overtalk me one more time,
Never
then I will
mind. Just-
turn you down
just-
because you're
let him keep
demonstrating
talking.
that you're the same asshole that you were 2 years ago.
Mm.
That's why you went on my troll.
Mm.
Okay, you're not talking. So can you have those? Can you hold that proposition in a chance universe? It's not whether or not God, if there was an actual God, couldn't give you that in a chance universe. That's irrelevant. We're talking about whether you can hold to that proposition. Why are you over talking me, Darth? Why are you being an asshole? Question is whether or not you can hold to the proposition that you had a revelation in a chance universe.
Does holding to a proposition mean there are causal relations?
Darth, answer my question.
Yeah, it's a simple
Well, I'm
question.
looking for
Just repeat the
clarification.
question.
You say you hold
Just
to a
repeat. It's a
proposition.
simple question.
Does that entail causal relations?
That's a red herring. That's just a
It's
red herring.
irrelevant.
No, actually, it's quite relevant. Maybe you don't have the
Why don't
intellect.
you answer my question?
the question.
I'm trying to get clarification.
You'll just
Now,
have
if
to
you don't
repeat the
answer
question.
Okay, I'm
you
going to
don't
have to
answer my
repeat the question. Okay, so can you hold to the proposition that God gave you revelation in a chance universe?
Okay, well, that would be an incoherent statement because you see,
It's a question,
in
not
a
a
universe
statement,
where God
you dummy.
exists, then you would it wouldn't be chance. The universe would be created and sustained by God, so it wouldn't be.
That's
a chance
irrelevant.
Okay, yeah. So I answered your question. Now,
No, you didn't.
I've
You didn't
answered
answer
your
my
You'll
question,
just have
Darth.
to repeat the
Last-
question.
Listen.
You'll just have to
Jovonn,
repeat the
I'm being
question.
very, very patient with you.
No, you're
This
not.
is not patience.
Okay, last chance, Jovonn. Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
last chance.
Wait, hold on. What are you going to do? Okay, he's asking you a question. Please answer his question and remain civil, Darth.
In a Christian worldview, are simply God ordained, so they could not be
More gobbledygook.
identical in a chance universe. So I directly answered your question. Now, What I'd like
With
to know from you
gobbledygook.
is you came in here
You
ridiculing
didn't
me,
answer my question.
saying that I was afraid to talk to the atheist. What I would like for you to do is tell me about your atheism and
You haven't answered my question.
why your atheism is coherent.
Well, look
Go
how
ahead.
You'll just have to repeat the question.
Okay, yeah, I'll just have to repeat the question. Can you
already
hold to
answered
the
it. No.
proposition?
All right, hold on, guys. Everyone, stop talking at once. Jovonn, please. Once I release this, ask your question again, please, and then we'll see if he's capable of answering. Oh my God.
So, Darth,
All right, hold
can
on.
you hold to the same proposition? Well, can you hold to the proposition that you received revelation from God in a chance universe?
He's the same. Call.
Okay, Darth, stop over talking him. I gave him the talking stick, and you're interrupting him. No, Darth, you cannot over. Okay. Oh my fucking God, Jesus Christ, man! Hold on.
He already answered the question.
No.
Muted.
All right. So Jovonn, ask your question again, and Darth, please don't interrupt.
Okay,
you listening into our room? All right, I'm just going to kill the sound, Jonathan. What they do is they usually do. They have somebody in the room.
All right. He's just not going to answer your question, Jovonn. He's just going to keep dodging.
Yeah, I see that.
He already answered.
Let's go into the room.
That was very good moderation.
As was predicted.
Go
back to your
troll or be abusive.
Go
And
back to your
Jovonn
safe
just proved my point. So they heard that I was
Go to
coming
your
in here.
safe
So a whole
space,
bunch
Darth.
of them from where they were listening to the streaming came in here, and Jovonn and a couple of others.
Again, no, Darth. No, Darth. This is not a place for you to pontificate about the fact that you dislike certain people. All right, this is going to stay pressed until Darth stops talking. No, he didn't. He didn't refuse. Hold on. This is a complete misrepresentation of what happened, Darth. Jovonn asked you a question. You've evaded. Okay, he's been trying to ask you questions again and again, and you keep over talking him.
Answered it though, so you're a liar.
Yeah,
That's
Jonathan, don't feed the trolls.
He responded with gobbledygook,
I just
Jonathan.
answered him. He's trolling.
No, Jonathan, if you feel like you can explain the gobbledygook that came out of Darth Dawkins' mouth, feel free, Jonathan. I don't think you can. I don't think you understood the
Anyone
gobbledygook that he
wishing
said
to
either.
continue the conversation with me and avoid this shitfest, I'll be down in my room below, and this way we won't have the nonstop.
And this is the man who should
Everybody's
never
welcome.
complain about being overtalked, since that's what he does all the time, is overtalk people
Okay, you're a 40-year-old
and abuse them.
JJ, while I had him muted, you could still see his face lighting up, like he was still talking. So even though no one could hear what was coming out, he was still fucking going on. I mean, yesterday he ran away from being told not to call people the F word yesterday, and acted like I'd abused him.
Oh, that was you? Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Is Jonathan still here? Because I want to explain why what Darth said is just question begging.
Wait, did
Alright, he's a fucking troll. Jonathan,
Did Darth
there's
have
no point
another
talking to
fucking
Jonathan.
tantrum?
There's literally no point.
What the fuck just happened? He just left.
Yeah, Darth came up here, right? Darth was in his room, and he said that, look, guys, I'm about to go up there. I'm about to show you. I'm about to show all of you that these atheists are fucking cowards. I'm going to go up there where there's no moderation, and I'm going to fucking wreck these atheists. So he came up here, and we was like, all right, let's go talk to Darth then, since he's not going to be able to moderate us. So we jump in here, and I asked Darth to talk a question. Darth completely evades the question, starts over-talking me, tells me he's going to mute me, turn me down, that I'm just a troll, blah, 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 and refuses to answer the question. And eventually he leaves and says like he can't.
By saying it was an incoherent question.
Yeah, but it's not right. Another way of thinking about another way of thinking about it. Another way of thinking about it is to ask, why couldn't you have all the beliefs by chance? Right? Why couldn't you believe all the things that Darth believes merely by chance?
How is that incoherent, Butter?
Directed to.
How is that incoherent, Butter?
Well, I believe he was trying to pontificate on how that was incoherent, but he was kind of interrupted, and I don't like the guy, but we got to be honest and.
So when he said that, right, when he just gave that answer that it's incoherent, and then he went on to say, so this guy's an atheist, now let him explain his atheism, that was him pontificating on the answer? when he just tried to change the subject, that was him pontificating on the answer.
He just tried to shift the burden onto you and say, well, your answer doesn't matter. Whatever you say doesn't matter because your worldview is completely incoherent. That's not him answering your question. That's just him shifting the burden because he can't actually answer the question. This is like Darth 101, where he won't answer your question. He'll make it seem like he's answering your question, but what he's actually trying to do is he's trying to gaslight you into thinking that he's answered your question just to shift the burden back on you so he can go back onto the attack. He actually doesn't know how to debate or get off of his script. He's actually very disingenuous with the way in which he debates.
That's exactly it.
Hey, Skylar.
Yo, yo, yo.
Amen.
fucking
man.
Well, that was fun.
All right, no problem.
I remember when I first came, I used to post fallacy ref memes like every time you do this, saying this is an illegal fucking goalpost shift by Darth. This is an illegal proof reversal by Darth. Every time he would open his mouth, because that's his textbook. He doesn't actually answer anything or give you any kind of tangible answer to the question that you've given him.
Whoa, half of the chat is muted.
Hey guys, why are there so many people here today?
No, a lot of people.
Because
people wanted to come in here for Darth, basically just to see what its reaction.
Right, Darth Dawkins put out an open challenge to all atheists, right? He was about to wreck them in a room in which he did not have mods or any ability to mute. What we just saw was a man not doing any wrecking, but over talking and running away. It's strange. It'd be great if there was a recording of that.
Oh, is that?
We have a lot of fucking recordings.
Don't be so sure.
Well, listen, if any of you guys ever want to wreck Darth and it's in religion and he's over talking you and being rude and obnoxious, feel free to tag me because I'm more than happy to come and moderate and keep it.
Sorry, there's so many people here.
Somebody upload that fucking video of him flipping out, please. Or no, like not the one yesterday, the one from today.
I have moved Viv into my top 5.
Yeah, I guess I have misjudged Viv. I have to put him in my good list.
I think I made a new record. I've been muted by him at least 15 times now. That's kind of epic, right? You know?
This is I'm actually surprised he engaged me this time. Every time I've tried, I literally have not attempted to engage with him in like the last 8 months. Because I knew every single time I tried to engage with him, he would just refuse to engage with me, call me a troll or anything.
Wait, did he run away?
Yeah, he ran away.
Yeah,
What the fuck? I was in the other room talking to him, and all he did was just calling you an idiot as well.
I think that's
Somebody's posting up that video. Can I get a look at it?
Wait.
Yesterday I was talking to Darth, and basically what I said was something along the lines of, can God do the logically impossible, like making a square circle? And he said, no, of course not. That's incoherent. The last logic is properties of God. So no, he can't. And then I'm like, okay, but doesn't that mean that he can't be all-knowing? Because you can't be all-knowing because there could always be something you don't know that you don't know, and you can never say that there isn't because you would know it if it were. And instead of answering, he just said, okay, you're stupid, your question is stupid, so we mute.
Mohammed,
But in his worldview, he
Wait, what?
God did not create square circles, so it's not like he's restricted from making a square circle. It's just he never did it that way.
No, God is restricted from making a square circle. The omnipotence that Darth uses is the ability to do anything logically possible. So God cannot create a square circle.
Exactly, or a very passionate.
There's actually
No, this is based upon the attributions of God. Can God, for example, create another God, therefore making that there's not a God before one God?
Hold on. I was trying to say something. Hold on.
Hang on. Yeah. Because there's a more defeating for everyone, right? There's a more defeating way than trying to point out an incoherent thing like creating a square circle, right? The more defeating way is to point out a coherent thing like creating a rock so large it can't be lifted. Right? There's nothing illogical about someone creating something so large that they can't lift it, right? This isn't an incoherent thing.
No, okay,
But
and
God
you-
can't
okay,
do that
saying that you
because of
lack
his
belief in
omnipotence.
God, or you say you
So
don't
that's actually a
know,
more damning
okay,
example, right?
not
Because
the
it
end of
Yeah,
the
I
comes
know,
from
but
because it is
if you
not
present that
simply what
example to
people
Darth, you'll
assert.
call it a
It's
troll
not
and
simply
surrogate.
what they
Well,
sincerely
there's
think
no-
about what they assert.
No, because
but it
the
also
question
includes
is
the
flawed because
implications
God
of what
can
they
never
assert. For
create
example,
a
somebody
stone
could
that he
assert
can't carry because
something,
he's always going to
but
be able
not
to
realize
perform that
what
act.
the
This is
assertion
right. That's
means by
that's why it's
implication.
more damning, right?
So
Because
if you
creating
assert you
look,
lack belief in
creating a
God, you don't
stone
have a
so large
positive
that it
belief
can't
in
be
God,
lifted
but
is
that you
not an
don't deny
incoherent
God, you think
proposition,
you're not denying
right?
God.
We
But the
all
fact is
believe,
that is
presumably,
wrong.
that that's a
Because if you
logically
say,
possible
I
thing to
make
do,
no
right?
declaration about ultimate
All of us
reality,
here
meaning there
can
is or is
build
not a
something
God, you are
so
still making a
large that we
declaration
can't lift it, right? So there's
about
nothing
ultimate
incoherent.
reality that you are in no need to make a
Jupiter.
declaration about ultimate reality. that you
Indeed.
can get by and
Please
speak and
continue,
reason.
gentlemen.
Now,
Continue.
if
But
you
yeah,
can
so if
get
you
by
if you
and be
bring that up
meaningful
to him,
and
like I mean, calling you
intelligible
a troll is
without a
not answering the
declaration of
question,
ultimate
right?
reality,
The
that
question
is an
poses
indirect
is why
denial of
can't
the
God
existence of
do
God.
this
Meaning,
logically possible
God is
thing?
not required
Well,
It's quite simple.
necessarily in order
I
for
think
you to
Darth
think,
calling a
move,
troll is
breathe, and
basically an
reason and have
acknowledgement
logic. Certain
that you're
nonsense. Listen carefully.
Can I say something,
Not
please?
something
How
that
can,
is
excuse me, gentlemen.
this is
How can it presuppose
ironclad.
God
It is
if God follows the laws of logic? That means
Agnosticism
the
is
laws
an
of logic
indirect
presuppose God.
denial of God.
All I know
So
is
there's
that
only
Jesus
two
Christ is
positions.
Brother,
There's only two positions under the
although I
existence of
won't
God.
like to
You
stand
either
with
affirm
any
God
religious
or
side, I
you
would
deny
say that
God,
putting
either
limiters
directly
on God or
indirectly.
applying logic to God is against the
Okay?
whole God
So,
concept, and
what is your
it
what
won't
is your
work. I'm sorry,
rationale that
gentlemen.
there is no
All I'm
This whole
saying is that
You.
King Solomon might have been a pagan, might have been a heretic. They might all be heretics other than Christ and the man next to him and all of his
listen to
Christian
me.
disciples, or
Atheism
Christians who
is the
actually go to heaven.
denial
I don't know
of
where everybody
all
else is going,
creator
but
God
Christians are
concepts.
definitely
What
going
is
to
this
heaven.
guy?
Atheism
What is this guy talking
encompasses
about?
all of this.
We were talking
having
about
a-
the
anyways.
fundamentals of existence of God.
personal
Yeah, I
As
know.
I said, putting limiters on God in itself is a paradox. You cannot put limiters on God. You cannot say that normal logic applies to God because God, logic does not apply to God because He is
I
God.
disagree. I mean, he is logic. Foundation.
Does your position that there is no
He
God
is the foundation for our logic, but we can't understand and supplement His logic, gentlemen. That's the thing.
Wait, can every atheist?
Although I would say to you that you cannot prove or disprove the existence of God, He will always remain this way.
All I'm saying is that we're the real Israelites, you know, and you know the fake Jews need to blow the fuck out.
Listen to me.
Synagogue of Satan, checkmate.
I'm not trying to
Brother, comparing yourself because of a gene or DNA sample to other people in itself, I would say stupidity.
hear your rationalization that there is
Oh my
no
God,
personal absolute
I'm done.
God.
GG.
Okay?
Can't help you guys.
I'm going to be honest with you. I actually can't do that, and the reason why I can't do that is because I'm using a different epistemology than you are, and unfortunately, my own epistemology is
Concrete?
flawed.
Well, it's worse. Your
Where
your
you been at,
situation is
Concrete?
worse than
Missed you,
flawed.
bro.
You have no
Hey, what's going
framework
on,
that you can
Jovonn? Same
identify
here, bro.
that will provide you a footing for epistemology.
I'm
Epistemology
here.
is
I'm
going
here.
to
I'm here in
require
the land of the
that you have
glory.
an ontology, or what the nature of being
Can I ask someone a
is.
question?
Without
Hello?
The land of the legends.
No, you're the only one allowed to ask me.
Excuse me? Can I butt in here? Thanks.
Sorry.
Is there a mod here I can talk to about something?
It's Viv. Use mod mail.
It's going to be something about Darth.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
if you get down,
No, it's not about.
I feel like 99% of the mod problems in here are just Darth.
I don't know. Darth
You
fucking
can
like
just use politics mod mail.
Darth,
That's
an
what I would
atheist for the
advise.
cause.
Darth fucking loses his shit at me at least once a day because I'll come into him fucking yelling at someone and I was like, dude, what are you doing? You're like a 50-year-old man like yelling at someone on the internet. Calm down. But yeah, has someone got an interesting topic to discuss? Concrete, you normally have something worth saying.
That was
Well, let's
mean.
just ask Concrete. Concrete, do you think that you could have all the same beliefs in a chance world?
This is stupid.
if God can do literally everything, does that
Wait,
mean that
Butter,
God
did
can
you say
create
that's
something?
stupid? Butter, did you say that's
Yeah, I'm
stupid?
saying that this conversation is definitely stupid.
Why is it stupid?
It's stupid because we're trying to apply human characteristics to God.
Well, first off, that's dumb. But second off, when we talk about Chance Universe, do you understand the argument of like, have you ever heard of Last Tuesdayism?
Explain God. We're using human logic to explain God, and we shouldn't be doing that.
Well,
So then you're saying,
I
if
was
you
under the
Butter,
impression-
listen, Butter, if you say that, right, then you're saying that we can't know anything about God. We can't use any of our human rationale to talk about God. So when Darth comes in here and talks about God, why don't you say that to him?
Because I have said it to him actually multiple times about.
So now you're just coming in here and saying that we can't talk about God.
And I'm an atheist as well.
Is anybody
So
home?
I think.
Well,
Can you
according
prove?
to
Can you
the
prove that your
Bible,
atheism is true?
well, according to the Bible, God created man in His image, meaning that necessarily, our characteristics will be kind of reflected, or a reflection of His to an extent.
Open to
That He necessarily would have some human characteristics.
Mr. Batman, I thought already explained that concept to you about being created in God's image, but yet at the same time, He is the Holy Trinity, which means He can.
You should never say "but" yet.
Wait, none of this makes any sense. You can't talk about God.
Jovonn, I just had a comment on your question to Darth. I was wondering. I think he understood it to mean like, could his God exist in a chance universe versus
No,
that's
not true.
Yeah,
we've actually asked this question of him in the past, and he's actually answered the opposite. But he knows that if he answers like that, he's fucked. Now he has to answer the other.
It's very It's very specific to the. If you'd noticed, the question was to the beliefs.
Yeah,
that could
that
be
I
held.
think he was not. That was what wasn't
I
getting
haven't
across.
watched a
Like,
lot.
can you believe in a chance universe? Do you believe
you
in
don't
God,
like that type
even though he
of,
doesn't exist in that chance?
Trust me when I say that
He
he understood
knows.
the question.
Yeah, he understands.
I mean,
He
I don't
just
know if you
avoids.
like comedy.
Yeah, we've been through
I
this with
know
Darth
you like
before.
comedy.
Yeah, I mean,
but
the only people who quote unquote don't understand
do
the
you enjoy stand-up or
questions are people who don't give
like his
Darth
stand-up,
the answer he wants.
Yeah, his stand-up is good. I mean, it was good. Yeah, man.
Like if their answer doesn't,
Who do you enjoy? I mean,
align perfectly with his preconceived
is there
conclusions,
someone like you?
then, well, by definition, according to Darth, they don't understand.
Stand-up comedy.
How did he call my question incoherent, right? As if he thought I was asking
Woody
if
Allen's
God
stand-up
could exist in a
comedy.
chance universe.
Woody Allen. I'm not.
Yeah, I think like that's what he was saying. Like he said that
I mean,
God
I
couldn't
know that
exist in
he's
a
supposed to
chance
be good,
universe.
but I
So
haven't,
like,
seen
then God couldn't be made
lot
to
of it on
exist in a
YouTube.
chance universe. That's incoherent. I don't know.
Is it good?
Just
No,
like
that's not what the question
what
was.
about?
though.
Do you like
I
fish?
think he misunderstood the question. That was my
Chris
No,
Rock.
no, he understood it.
No, he
Yeah, I
definitely.
do like him.
He was.
Okay.
Well, in that
I mean, that's part of the
context,
reason why the question had to be
create
repeated.
the
Well,
chance universe
maybe he's
in that
not. I don't know. I
context?
mean,
Did he
but
create the
his
chance
routines
universe in that
are very clever.
context or no?
They get to the
What?
truth.
The
man.
point. The question.
As part of your question,
The
as part of
question.
your
No,
I mean, he
about the
foresaw,
chance universe, did
for what I
God
can
create
tell,
the chance
the
universe?
question had nothing to do
we were
with God.
we
Do you
were
understand that?
entering into this
You were
era
asking if God can
where
exist in the
people
chance
No.
were
universe.
considered
No.
to be superior in some
What
way.
was the question?
We're not able
We
to mock
asked,
or to ridicule.
can you have
You'll
all
have
the
to
same
repeat it again.
beliefs?
Fun of the people who with lesser.
Can you hold to all the same
skills or
propositions you
abilities
hold
or
to
virtues,
now
if you will.
in a chance universe?
So I don't know if you saw, that
Huh,
where
that's
he
interesting.
speaks about it.
If you
Yes.
can, it's kind of think about the last
I
Tuesday
don't recall
ism type
that,
thing, right?
Yeah,
but I haven't seen
It's a
all
thing
his,
that we use
all
to
his
show
Oh.
skepticism, to show that we can't really
specials.
know
yeah, he was saying that
everything, right? Like let's say that the world was created last Tuesday with all the same memories
okay,
in
you cannot
place,
mock a
right?
fat girl.
You can't know whether or
Fat
not
girls
the
can mock
world was
skinny
created
girls all
before
the
last
time,
Tuesday
no
because
problem.
everything's going to be consistent
It was
with that
allowed
view.
for people who were seen.
It's the same thing with the
lesser
chance
to
universe.
take
You
hits
can't
at
know that
people
you
who are
have those
superior,
views
but
because
not
of
the
God,
other way
because you could
around.
have all these beliefs in a world without God. And if that's the case, you have to show.
is
You
kinda
can't say you're 100%
I'd
certain
like to see that
about
routine.
that belief.
Yeah, it is. It's very good. I was amazed when I saw, I
And
saw
that's
it,
why
you know,
his
years from
answer,
now. I
in
mean,
his
long
answer,
time
he
ago.
resorted to
Then I saw this
pseudo-religious gobbledygook.
society trend that was practically just,
And the reason JJ
instituting
is saying
this
gobbledygook
routine,
is because that's the word that he uses on us
you know,
every time we
real.
present him some philosophical jargon, and he just calls
My
it.
roommate says
yeah,
that
I'm very aware
he
of
said
that
that
word.
being famous is like being a
Yeah,
hot
Although in this
it's kind
case
of a
it was
shame.
true.
It's like being
If
what?
somebody could explain to me
a hot
what
chick.
Darth Dawkins'
hot
answer
chick.
meant,
Being
I'd
famous
listen.
is like being, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, when he
I wasn't
I
here.
heard
you get
what
the
he
same
said,
traits, right?
or even was
It
was
is funny
had it
how certain
transcribed, written
things,
down, and studied
well,
it,
I don't
still
know.
couldn't tell
It
me
is
what
like power, right? Can be found into, there are different sources of
I
power.
wish I was here to
You know,
hear it
beauty is
because
one
then
of
I
them.
could.
Money is another one.
Isn't like really supposed to
Perhaps
be
intellectual
simple?
superiority is another
It
one.
seemed like
And
he
they all
still
share the same
believed
traits,
that,
right?
like,
The same
with your
influence you have on
question,
people, and the
he didn't
same
want to believe that there could
willingness
be
of people. I
anything
mean, people
without
are
God, so
willing
he
to,
just was trying to
I guess,
converge, like, God creating a chance universe
the
in
word
that
in English?
context, like,
When you
that the
accept
chance universe
dominance.
I don't know where you're getting
What is the
any
word?
of
Right, I can tell you right
Oh,
now,
you're
it's
an
just
expert on
cowardice.
Yeah.
We've been, like I said, we've been through this exact
I am,
thing
but
with him
not, I
before, and
mean,
he's answered the
I
opposite
certain
way,
words
and then
I
we've
am not,
explained to him the
you know, I
problem,
don't know how
and
this
he's
one,
realized he
how to
can't
translate
fucking
that.
answer that way anymore.
So
But he
Jack,
can't give a good answer the
the
other way,
action
so he just makes
of
the other answer and then calls us trolls and
accepting
says,
dominance
tries to get us
from
to talk
another
about
industry.
atheism.
What is that?
I loved when somebody said answer his question.
Sure what
The
Yeah, that
question he
was
didn't
retarded.
ask you, Jovonn.
It is
Yeah.
like submissive, but it is not submissive. Oh shit! I gotta take this call. Give me a minute.
It's kind of a shame that Jonathan. I gave him the disembodied mind objection, and he just flipped on it. Couldn't respond.
Well, Jonathan knows his
He's just
place.
a troll.
Let's go
Jonathan
around
knows
the
his
room
place.
and ask people why they are atheists. I'll go first.
That phone ring when he's not
Because
getting railed on
I
something.
believe that a God who is
Yeah,
who
boy.
would forgive all your sins as long as you accept
I thought he
him,
was gonna go up there and shit on
into
some
your heart
atheists.
before your last dying breath. I don't want to believe in a God like that.
Where?
Oh, you're an atheist because you don't like
Politics.
God.
Politics.
You
Well,
hate God.
Stark was in
You're an
his room,
atheist.
and we were listening, and he said that
I don't hate God.
he's
I
gonna
just
jump
don't want
into
to
the other
believe
room.
in
Watch,
something
he's
like
gonna go
that.
up there without moderation,
Yeah,
without
like,
being the mod.
if
He's
God's
gonna
supposed to
shit
be
on these
merciful,
fucking
then why is he
cowardly
giving
atheists.
children cancer?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
the
don't really
only
understand.
problem I
implies
saw with that
atheism.
was that one
Do
of
you
the
not
things he
realize how that
said,
just
I don't know
implies
if the
that you
first
do
part was
believe in God,
recorded
right?
Yeah,
from
that's what
someone
I
who
was
did
just about to
record him
point
making
out.
that
Like,
challenge, is that
Sorry.
he said they're
Sorry
just going to
about that.
insult me. The
like
problem
you're
was when
saying
Yuri and
a
JJ
fucking
were
God
fucking
exists, and you're just not believing
chirping
in
in,
it by
it was
admitting you're an
they were
atheist.
walking
I don't
all
really
over
understand
everything, and
the
they
whole
were
Yeah,
giving
this is
him what he
stupid.
wanted in that sense, and it fucked the recording.
I'm simply saying that
Right, the immediate
that
just
I
goes,
do
"Fuck
not
you, Darth," or something
acknowledge
like that. It's
that
just,
God
"Fuck Yuri,
exists
calm down."
because what kind of
Because you
God
wouldn't
would
like
act
it.
that way? Yeah, what kind of God would act that way?
The only
It doesn't
benefit
make any
was to
sense.
show
What
that he
kind of
was going to
God
mute people,
would
but he
be
was muting them
okay
for what he said he
with
was going to, what
everyone
they were
just
going to do in the first.
sinning
The
all
only
the
one that
time
should have
and
really been
fucking with
taking point on
his
that was
I mean,
Jovonn.
with his world that he created?
What does that matter?
like, should he just do everything for you? Like, wipe your fucking ass? I mean, I don't understand here. Like, there's gonna be hardship and suffering. That's just kind of how life is.
Well, you're talking
Yeah,
about
but
incredulity,
he's
is what you're
kind of
saying. You're
encouraging
saying you
it. But
object
he's
to
kind of
God
very
because of
desperate for some
incredulity, right? Like, I can't
white
believe that
atheist
a
action.
God would do that.
Well,
That's
yeah,
what I
that's
didn't want to
not
happen. I didn't want him to jump up
that's
there and
not
actually get into a
what I
conversation with
think
the
a
white
God
belt
should
atheist.
be.
For
So
them to
yeah,
say stupid shit.
I
What
would
do you
classify
think a God should be?
Yuri wasn't hopeful either,
one
like
that
Trey was saying.
advocates for loving thy neighbor and treating people with respect. And
Well, do you believe in that God?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I
They are
think it
fun
would
to yell
be.
at,
I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you can't be an
It's not very
agnostic
productive, but-
supposedly because it's impossible or whatever.
Bill, have you tried running like any like arguments against God, or just like you don't like him, so therefore He doesn't.
I mean, I've used arguments against God just in front of Christians who say that I'm gonna go to hell
By they, I'm
because I'm
including
gay.
Batman
so,
in that as well.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like evil is a big problem for you. You should probably use an argument like the logical problem of evil. A simple one you could run is just a transitivity argument, right, for the logical problem of evil. You could just say that the reason is God the cause of babies getting cancer in Africa, right, or getting AIDS, right? And you could just say that because of the principle of transitivity, God would be the cause of that, right? Because if you take causation to be transitive, right, that means if God caused the first cause, it would logically follow from that God caused all the suffering with the babies and kids in
I'm muted
Africa,
deaf into
right?
politics,
Because
so.
we could take transitivity be a principle just like a domino effect, right? If God was the one who caused the first domino, right?
So Darth
then it
is
would
deafened in
logically
his room,
follow
and
that
Skylar's
God
going after somebody in
caused
there.
the fifth domino, right, in that set.
Especially given
how
God's
likely is
omnipotence.
it that Africans have free will just like every other human being?
The free
I wish
will
somebody would
objection would just
record or
be
stream
irrelevant,
this. It's
right?
so frustrating.
Because
He's
it's
deafened.
all that's required is that God caused the first cause.
Deafened where?
That's all
Which
that's
is
required.
vacuous,
In
right?
politics.
Which is vacuous, right?
Why
Did you
is it?
send
Wait, why
a
is it
message
vacuous?
to the mod
We
bot?
know
I
we
certainly
know he's
did.
a creator
I
God,
mean, what do you
right?
want to hear? You want
So that's like saying
Well, it's not a.
Oh, do
I
you
just
know
want to
that?
hear it
God created everything.
after the
So
fact. I
and what?
actually was
And now
with
what?
Scarlet.
And
Do you
now what
mind
Concrete.
have we
joining in a
learned?
private
Wait, you
call
know
real
that
quick?
Concrete? Can you have all your
What have
beliefs
we
in a chance
learned?
universe?
Sure, I'm gonna
Irrelevant.
be
Irrelevant.
It is completely
We
no.
we
Why?
already
No, Concrete. Come on.
Do we
look.
live in a chance universe? No, we don't. So let's stick to
It's
the topic.
irrelevant because we
Wait, how
already
do you know that?
conceded. Hold on, sir. It's irrelevant because we
Butter,
already
how do you know that we
conceded.
don't live in a chance universe?
Come on. We're
In a
pivoting. Let's stay
religious
focused.
standpoint, it's not.
That's
Look.
irrelevant. Okay, I believe that the
So we're not
world we
going to-
live in is made of jello. I believe the world is flat. Like, okay, so we can argue against those, but are you saying we should just let him say whatever and then not argue against it?
It's irrelevant because if you're going to present the problem of evil, you've already, for the sake of argument, accepted that God exists.
No.
So you're not.
No, hang on, that's fine.
Ladies,
No,
ladies,
guys,
hold on. There's
that's
no way
fine.
for you not to
Well, you
accept God.
you don't have to accept God
if
exists
you're
to give the logical
positing,
problem of evil.
if you're
The logical problem of evil
positing,
concludes that God doesn't exist.
if you're logically
look, guys.
positing that God is the cause of all events, then you are, for the
That's
sake of
fine.
argument, establishing
evil has to
God as
exist in the
being
world.
existent.
Yeah,
You
guys,
can't question the existence and posit God as
Concrete, calm down, calm down. Go ahead, Al. Go ahead.
I'm siding with concrete. Like I agree, right? We do.
As you should, because I have the logic for that.
Yeah,
Concrete, calm down for a second, buddy.
It's fine, right? We do in fact posit God at the beginning. Look, we do in fact posit God at the beginning of the argument, right? We also posit other properties, right? And we show that God plus these properties leads to an incoherence.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Look,
fine.
How was the wife
and any Christian or any theist or any logical, sound person is going to say, so what? You're an ant in an ant farm trying to make pronouncements about how you got there and who put you there and what the farm is made of.
Well, if I'm actually in that farm with my brain and cognitivity, I could infer how I got there, Concrete.
Of course. And it says it's worth exactly what it's worth on the open market, right? If I put
What?
What your
Are we talking about capitalism now?
If I took no. If I took your inference, hold on. Not even the thought market, right? A regular market of transactions in capital.
Yeah, capitalism.
Yeah. If I put your inference up for sale, right, or I try to use it in exchange for goods or services, your thoughts and your inferences would yield me nothing.
How do you think we made a computer?
God made it.
Look, you can have.
Do you think we made inferences in order to create the material
You have
that we put together
Hold
to
on.
create a
You have
computer?
Jovonn, chill out, relax. You have inferences that are more valuable, right? You have inferences which I could exchange for goods and services, but this particular inference is worthless. Thank you.
Why is it a worthless influence?
Because it doesn't give you money.
I can't do anything with it. You said
Okay.
God, logically incoherent. Alrighty. Thank you. Now what?
Okay.
Yeah, you can do something with that. You can put it in your belief.
Yeah. So wait,
Or
hold
like
on.
this guy's interview.
Wait, hold on. So concrete. Okay. So if we turn around and show to you that God is logically incoherent, and you accept that thinking in a logically
Did you get
incoherent
that
way is fucking
DM,
stupid,
Michael?
right? Why does that not? Why do you not accept the fact that then the belief in God is fucking stupid?
No, I'm
Yes, sir.
not
Thank you.
accepting. I'm not
Okay.
accepting your
Do you think?
pronouncement.
Okay.
Hold
So
on.
hold on one second.
Relax.
No.
Relax.
It's kind of ironic that you're going. No, concrete. Because I was concrete.
I'm
I
not
asked you
accepting
concrete.
your
Oh my god.
pronouncement.
Concrete. I'm trying not to
finish,
moderate you
dude.
right now.
I'm
No,
literally
dude.
trying to finish.
Oh my god, because I was still halfway through the thing.
Can
So
you?
the point that I was
Oh, you're
making,
still
right?
talking. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So the point that I was making, I need to go back to it. Do you accept that to follow something that is logically incoherent is stupid? This is like a yes or no question.
Oh, so now you're changing what you originally said. Okay, no
No.
problem. Great.
All right.
Following something that's with no greater context to add to your question, following something that is logically incoherent is unwise.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
So if we can then establish that God is logically coherent, then you would expect that it's fucking stupid to follow in to believe in
Yeah,
God.
sure.
Okay. Jovonn, you're probably better at doing this if you're still
Oh
here.
shit! Is that all you did? Was tell us that if the sky is blue, then you'll accept that the sky is blue? Thank you, Viv. You've
Cool.
contributed nothing.
I'm walking my dog right now, so I really don't want to get into like a yelling match. A yelling match in the middle of the fucking a yelling match in the middle of the street to go to why God is logically incoherent.
I'm sure your dog can handle it. Thanks
It's
for
not
nothing.
that. There's
Have
other
a nice
people in the
day.
street.
Contra, you've never heard of the illogical problem
And then he
people?
kills David's
I
baby.
thought we ran
Made
that.
a baby
Yeah,
sick
we
for
have
7
ran that
days.
to you, Contra. You know.
Look,
We
Jovonn.
ran a
asking my
different
opinion?
version of the
Jovonn,
one
no matter here.
No,
Hold on, I want
I'm
to
just
tell the
trying to
room
get some
something for all the
clarification on how you think
Killing babies is a
This
good
is the
thing.
atheist crowd, right? So what they do is they sit around and they talk about all the.
I'm a theist.
Hold on, chill out.
So
This is
really?
the atheist crowd.
So he
All
could
they
take
do is sit
100
around.
babies, throw them
Yeah, I
into a
believe
graveyard.
I'm a
About
god.
all the different
So I'm a theist.
If he's punishing
arguments
this,
for
no,
or
it's not. What's
against God,
inconsistent? He kills babies to
and they
punish
try to
them.
look for whatever problems that they might find
It
for
was a
these
punishment.
particular arguments, and they try to
Exactly.
simultaneously
No,
develop their
not
own
random. Punish.
arguments
Let's say he
against
punishes
the
100
existence of
fathers.
God.
It takes 100
Normally,
babies, throws them into a
if they're
pit.
ever
Would be
honest, they wouldn't look for an argument for
Okay.
the existence of God because that might crumble their
What we're
cause.
talking
They
about
have to
Hold
admit.
on.
Hold on, let me finish.
No, dude, don't call people
Oh
dishonest.
my
That's kind of
God,
uncivil.
dude, go ahead, Viv. It's your
He
show.
said
Go ahead.
the
No,
word
I'm just
sex
telling
is
you
no
not to call
scripture.
people dishonest. That's incredibly
I
uncivil.
didn't call them dishonest.
You did. You said that these people, if these people were honest, okay, that implies that they are dishonest.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, whatever, dude. So if they were to take another approach, they would consider the arguments for God, but they might not do that because it might shake their worldviews. That better.
Sure, let's go with that. All right. So does anyone else want to take on like concrete now?
Look,
Like,
I'm just
accept-
curious, right,
fiction
what
that
Concrete's
y'all
objection was to the argument, because after I presented my argument, he just went berserk, right? I didn't actually hear an objection.
No meta.
All right. So let's move on for the fact. I think you should reiterate your argument as to why God is like logically inconsistent.
On Google
Wait,
Plus.
but I thought we
Incoherent,
were
sorry.
talking about the evil
I even spoke with
and
him,
like
I
starving
believe,
kids in
on 2
Africa, and we
occasions
never
in
really
private.
got
This is
back to it.
Okay. Now I
Okay.
rarely
I
say
feel
this
these are
about
related because it's
anybody.
related to the problem of evil.
He was the most
Right. So
obnoxious,
what I was saying
obstreperous
was,
person
we
I
have
have
kids
ever
in
talked
Africa,
or
right?
debated
And
with in
atheists was to
privately,
say
1
that
to
God
1.
isn't the cause of
Okay.
those kids in
He
Africa
continued to
getting
troll
cancer,
me
AIDS,
when I would
things like
come
that,
on
right?
to
But if we
Google
take
Plus
causation,
platforms,
right?
and I told him if he
If we're
didn't stop
granting
the
that
trolling,
God
I'd never
engages in
talk to him
causal
again. So you can
relations,
just hit the
right?
road,
Which
Skylar
presumably all
Fiction.
theists are going to
Okay.
say that.
And by the way,
If we take
love that
causation to
cap
be
that you wear on
transitive,
your
right?
YouTube show.
That means
It's
all
really
transitive means
fashionable.
that each event
Okay.
follow in
Next.
succession after the other, kind of like a domino effect, right? And so if we
What's the
take
question?
causation to be transitive, then what logically follow from that if God caused the first cause, then would follow from that that God would necessarily have caused the kids in Africa to get cancer, right?
just like a set of
Skylar
dominoes,
Fiction
right?
isn't a position
If
to
someone
evaluate
pushes over the
anything.
first
He's
domino,
an
then it
atheist
would
the
logically follow that he was the initial
heard.
All right,
cause
please be
for the
concise.
first domino.
We get it.
There's nothing hypocritical
So
about
that's
are
the
you
argument.
God is not
denying? Are you
obligated
denying that people have free will?
to if
Well,
he
free
commands
will would
somebody
just be
to do something.
irrelevant to
For
this,
example,
Can
right?
I
God
Because
says
we're
can I say
talking
you
something?
about
kill.
causation.
Okay,
All right,
that doesn't
great.
Go
mean
Can I
ahead,
say
God is
something?
concrete.
bound. But God is
Go
bound
All
by
ahead.
right,
that. This
great.
is
So we
Skylar's
find that
not
in
that smart. He
society
thinks he's
we
smart.
don't
He's making a
exactly follow
category
this
error.
particular
Okay,
line of
right?
reasoning
What?
that
It's
Yuri
an
is
absolute
laying out.
category error. God
Here,
has
and I'll show you an
prerogatives,
example.
being that he is
Whenever you
God,
have a
whereas
company
humans
and
does
its
not. Okay,
employees, right? And the company has a stated list of
Yeah, because
operational
God has a right
procedures,
to your
do's
life
and don'ts, right?
yeah,
and your
I.e.
life.
the Bible. And if
That's
an
just irrelevant, though.
employee,
yeah.
I know, be
For
quiet.
example,
And
I
if
do
an
not have the
employee goes
prerogative
against
to
those
end
stated
another
operational
person's life
procedures, do's
walking
and
on the
don'ts,
sidewalk,
then
unless, of
the
course,
employee
they
is
violate
understood
some,
to
let's
be
say,
acting
capital
at their
statute,
own
such as
volition, right?
thou shalt murder.
Against
Okay,
the behest
God
of
sanctions the
the
death penalty in the
corporation
Old Testament
in
for
question,
various
right?
infractions.
So
But let's say
if a
somebody is not
CEO
guilty of
or a
any of the death
founder
penalty
is the
infractions under the
initiator
Mosaic
of
law.
a particular endeavor,
God still has the
that
prerogative
we
to
don't usually
stop
hold
anyone's
them
life at any
accountable
time
for the actions of an
because he's God.
employee
That's
So,
terrifying.
when there
Skylar
are such
Fiction,
procedures
number
in
one, he's
place,
just a
right?
troll. Okay,
So
But we don't.
and he doesn't. He's
Yuri
making.
would find that
This is such a
reasonable
simple error
if
that
he
it's
were to ever
laughable.
encounter
It's a
such a
category
situation.
error.
But
Okay,
when you apply it to the God
absolute
concept,
category
he
error.
suddenly finds
Can I
it
introduce a bit more context
unreasonable.
to the question
So
that
what I would
Skylar was
now
asking?
say is Yuri
Sure.
is being logically
So he was
inconsistent,
basically there
No,
was
he's
a
not.
couple
and
problems,
it's
right?
reasonable
He was
to
basically saying
throw
that
out
God
his
violated the free
inconsistency,
will of
which
David's wife
is
and made her have sex with
attributing
other, which in
all
his own eyes is a sin,
malfeasance
right? For
to
something that he was
God
innocent in,
Whoa, whoa,
and
when
whoa, whoa, whoa,
basically
God
whoa,
has
whoa,
had
whoa, whoa, whoa,
clearly
whoa, whoa,
stated,
whoa,
punished him.
whoa.
do
What do you
this,
mean?
don't
What
do
do you
that,
mean God
do this, don't do
violated
that,
somebody's free will?
Well, I
right?
What
don't
does
think
that
the
even mean?
argument's
Concrete.
goal is
That
the
that
whole.
argument
For
Well, I
doesn't
don't.
work.
example,
Doing something
murder is
he
Well, I
rampant
don't think
in
the. Well,
Africa.
I don't.
No,
Whoa,
his
whoa, whoa,
counter
whoa.
sucks because his counter
Unfortunately,
is not
God's
actually
will
analogous
is
to the situation
supreme. Okay,
because
there are
the corporations did not
Does a
make the
police
people
officer
with
ever
the
arrest somebody
wills
against
that they
their will?
have and all the desires that they have, whereas God
Now,
did.
if
God
God wants
knowingly made
somebody
the
to
people
do,
that
if
would
God
commit
wants
sins
something,
knowing that they
Irrelevant.
would do it.
to
No,
do
it's not
something,
irrelevant because he's the first
okay,
cause of the person
and
doing it.
they oppose it, their
Right. So
will is
look,
not
this is
on
what
an
I was trying
equal
to
plane.
explain with concrete,
So
right?
there's
So
nothing
listen,
wrong,
right? We would
evil,
hold that
or
person
hypocritical
responsible,
about
right?
that.
But due to certain
you don't
legal
have a problem with that
understandings,
admission that he did violate the free will.
but due to certain legal
Okay,
understandings, right?
okay.
In the legal
First
system, we
of
wouldn't
all,
necessarily hold that person
God
responsible
grants
just because he started a
agency.
corporation,
Okay.
right?
Now, somebody
Under
can
my
choose to
argument,
say,
right?
Great.
"Oh,
The
I
theist,
don't
We
want
the
to.
agree.
I
theist,
do not want to
look,
step
no, the
outside there."
theist
And
is
let's
wanting
say
to claim
God,
that
like a
God has
policeman,
no
makes somebody step out.
responsibility at all, right?
So what?
For
Why
there being evil and
is
kids
God?
dying of AIDS in Africa.
Why would
My
God
argument
be
doesn't fall victim
obligated
to any
to
inconsistency, right?
submit
Because my argument just
to
points
a
out
person's
that that
will? Why?
assertion that the theist is
So
claiming is
I'm just
false,
asking.
I'm
right?
asking
That
Is that what
you,
God
you're
was
saying?
a cause
why would
of
there
those
be any
conditions due to the
moral
principle
obligation
of
of God
transitivity,
to
right?
do actions
That's
that
the
must
point.
be submitted to
All
whatever
you're
somebody else wills?
saying
Why?
I
is
mean, it just
we
seems
have
like
analogous
you really like yes or
I
no
situations.
don't. No.
answers. So I'm just
I'd
trying to
like
ask
an.
you
Wait,
I'd
are we
like an
going to
answer.
hear an
I'd like an
This
objection,
answer to my
not
particular
just
question.
the
situation
meta
Was
is
the God
concrete?
is the
I
God of the
can be
Bible
logically
obligated only to do
inconsistent
those actions that people agree to?
of the
I don't
transitive
see how this is
property,
an answer to the
which
question.
Okay,
is
listen.
He's just
also
avoiding the
Let
question.
applicable
yeah.
to
Okay.
any
Bye bye. Have
corporate
a nice day.
situation, right? If I am the founder of
He
an
got bullied in high school. That's why
organization
he's so
and
mad.
I hire employee
Is
A
that Quills you were talking to?
for the actions of employees A within the purview of my corporation.
So you notice I directly answered his question 3 times and he didn't care. See, this is why it is very difficult to have serious debates with atheists and unbelievers because a sizable number of them do not care what you say.
Analogous, but wait, hold on. If I
That's not analogous, though.
To intellectually defend atheism insofar as they can. Otherwise, they'll just
This isn't analogous.
You're cutting out. You're cutting out.
Yeah, Concrete, you're cutting out, and it's not an analogous situation.
Oh my god.
They don't care what you say.
Dude, no, Concrete, we literally can't hear you. You're cutting out so much. But this is not analogous.
If I can explain, right? The reason why this isn't analogous, right, to my argument, right, is because when someone hires an agent or a person to do a particular job within their corporation, right, They're just hiring
Right?
an
For example,
external
God
source
cannot
to
deny
perform that
himself,
task,
right?
right?
So
Under
if
the
God
theist
makes
or
a
the Christian
commitment to conduct
worldview,
himself in a
God is the
certain
creator
way,
of
then
everything,
God
right?
doesn't. He's
So that's
faithful.
why that
He
isn't
does not
analogous,
violate
right?
that.
Because as a
Right?
head of a
So there's nothing
corporation, I'm
hypocritical.
not
The only way
creating
that somebody
everything.
can
I'm
accuse God
hiring
of
and
being hypocritical
outsourcing
is that they're
people
making
with
a
different
category error,
intentions to do that
which is what
job.
atheists
But
do
however,
all
God
the
was the
time.
creator of all things. So that's why it's not
I have a
analogous.
question.
I mean, if you wanted a more analogous thing for a corporation, it would be like a corporation designing from the ground up an AI to do a certain job, and knowing the choices the AI was going to make. That'd be much more analogous, because that's what the theists claim of God.
Well, concrete's lagging. So, Butter, you were trying to put an objection forth?
Who? What, me?
Butter autism. He was trying to put an objection forth. He might not be here anymore.
Yeah. Alright. I mean, yeah. So the analogous situation would be designing an AI and knowing what it's going to do. Because in which case you'd design the AI knowing the outcomes of it, which is the claim that's made of what God does when He first makes you. And as a result, you'd be directly culpable for whatever that AI did as the person that first caused the AI to come into being. That'd be much more analogous.
Yuri, do you know what the answer is if someone says that
Like how one of
they
his
see or
minions
God
just
deems
starts
free will
basking in
as
the same
morally
flesh.
significant?
Freaks out at him too.
I just don't see that. I don't
It's
understand the view, nor do I see the relevance of that objection.
Well, it'd be
Right.
relevant if it's a greater good to have free will.
Right, but that's not the claim of the argument, right? The argument
you
is
being
whether
a
or
nice
not
person,
God
Skylar.
caused, right, the kids in Africa to get AIDS or get cancer.
Fuck you.
Oh, that's a
Did that
separate.
work
Yeah, that's
yet?
just. I'm just talking about the free will defense against the logical
Well, I
problem
would
of
just
evil.
use a different logical problem of evil, right, for that.
The candy?
I would just
Yeah,
use a completely
take
different
it.
argument. I was just.
Oh well, you
I
could.
took
There's an
like a
answer
book
to it that you don't have to
of it.
use
Yeah.
a different argument
I
that saves the same
am
argument.
getting
You can just say that.
small effects
Because
right now.
I'm just talking about the
Nothing
strict
too major.
logical problem of
Takes
evil.
wild
The
onset.
three-premise argument that which they try
Yeah.
to answer
Right.
with free will,
I'm in
which
that
was Alvin
why isn't it
Plantinga's
working
defense.
stage, so I imagine
but
The
it'll
thing is that
fairly soon.
assumes a libertarianism free
I
will,
don't know if I've
Yeah.
seen you in
which is
debate before.
incoherent.
You
Right.
usually take a
Right,
half.
of course,
But
you could
on,
bring
That's
that
how
objection. That's true.
yeah, but on top of that,
Well,
some
I'm
people
hoping to
try and
get more
expand it
doses
that,
out
well,
of it.
we need free will in this
But
world,
if
and
it
that as
doesn't
a
work,
result, evil naturally follows. But then if you ask, okay, well, does free will exist in heaven?
What drug is
They'll
this?
answer yes. You're like, okay. Does
No,
evil
this.
exist in heaven?
Don't
No.
So
tell him.
how is
Why?
my
Why?
Concrete, we
Bad.
still can't hear you,
Hey,
buddy.
but this is not
Why don't you tell me what drug
You
it is?
can fucking
results
plug it.
of free will, right?
Yeah, who the
Well,
fuck
free
is
will, as
this?
far as we can
What?
tell,
He's too
doesn't
much of a
exist. At
pussy
least
to
not
tell
in a
what drug you
libertarian
like?
sense.
No, like
Libertarian free will
AIDS,
doesn't make sense.
What? I mean,
things like AIDS and
Matter.
What are you
cancer are
scared
not
of? You're taking this fucking
She
drug.
Yeah,
results
but
of
right.
free will.
no, technically
What is
they
she
would
scared of?
argue
You're
that
taking this
AIDS and
drug. What are you
cancer
scared
were
of?
the results of
She's
us
not
falling due
scared.
to
She
Adam
was
and Eve
gonna
sinning.
say, but I told her
But like
not to
this
tell you
argument
because
is
it's none of your
all
business.
bullshit because
Why is it
about to
none
say,
of
what
my
it
who the
business?
basically
fuck
comes
is this
down to is
person?
God
Fucking
made two
sugar.
people that He told not to sin, but knew they would sin, and then decided
That's
the
who it
punishment would
is.
be AIDS and cancer for kids in Africa now. I mean,
Is it
I
Klonopin?
don't know how everyone else
That
sees
sounds
that in this room,
reasonable.
but it somewhat sounds incredibly
No, it's
immoral.
much stronger.
And I mean, to give you an
What?
example of this, of the system that this
What?
God's apparently created, right? I'll do the trolley problem because
What's
it's the most
stronger than
obvious
that?
example, right? Everyone knows the trolley problem,
All
I
kinds
assume.
of
There's
things.
like a train, it's going to hit
You
one person on a
fucking
track,
idiot.
or there's another track with 5 people on it,
Is this a
right?
psychotropic drug?
Sorry, it's going to hit the 5. Do you pull the lever? 90% of people say, yeah, I'd pull the lever so it hits the one person, so I net save 4 lives. The other 10%
So Jack,
says I wouldn't pull the
wait,
lever.
has he already fucking left?
If you swap the
I was gonna tell
situation
him.
and say, okay, the train's going to hit the
Darth
one
basically gave an
person,
open
Sick of
challenge.
do you pull the lever?
Darth
No
basically
one
DM'd the
says
mod and
yes.
gave an open challenge on politics
Obviously,
about how
it's
he's
the
gonna
moral
go
evil to do
destroying
so.
atheists, and before they
Right?
could put the announcement
The
on,
problem with
he'd
God's
already run
trolley
away back to his
problem
fucking room
is,
because he
well,
got
he's
bodied.
set up the lines,
Yeah, that was
he's
fun.
put the people on it,
Well, yeah, but
and then he's made
The
the
problem was is that we
decision
knew
that he's going to
automatically
make the
that you
trolley
would do
hit
that.
5 people
I mean,
instead
it's
of
just
1. And what I mean by that, he's made the
good that
decision
there's
that
a
the vast
mod over there. I'm
majority
not
of
sure who it
people will
was,
go
but it was
to
actually
hell,
sort of dealing with
and
his
the
bullshit.
vast
Oh, it was
minority
Viv.
will
It was
not.
Viv.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, it was him. That was
And I
good
mean,
because
I think we all agree.
I mean, I
if
don't
we
really
were in a
mind him right
situation,
away. I think it's
we'd
fine
do
to
the
make
inverse
accusations
to
about
this.
people being stalkers.
how does
When he's making an open challenge, because I was waiting for that one to come out, right? That would have been brilliant if you would have given an open challenge and he would have called someone a stalker. It was almost as good. He
They
called
don't.
you a troll, Jovonn.
You need a
There's-
better
2 years
sample,
ago,
mayonnaise.
yet he didn't want to
Yeah,
engage.
I can say what Mayonnaise was saying if someone didn't hear it. He says,
Maybe
"How
that
do
should be
other
something that
religions
can be
solve the
worked into
problem
his
of evil?"
contract.
Right?
Is that every
no,
week
no
Darth has to
monotheistic
have an
religion
open
is
questions
immune to the
seminar
problem of
or
evil.
whatever.
At
where
least
he
none
fields
that
questions
claim
from
that
the
their god is
crowd.
moral.
Hear me now.
That's not true. Pantheism
He won't do
works
that because
just
I
fine.
ask him simple questions.
Oh well,
most of the time
pantheism
he
literally
gives
just
me
says the universe
Hear
is
me
God,
out.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
Which isn't like
He seems to
monotheism.
use that word
I mean,
a
like
lot. I don't-
monotheism is in.
There's only
Well,
one
okay,
universe.
I mean,
Hear
okay,
me
He's
out.
also
sure, but I
been,
mean, monotheism is like
What
there's a
is a troll?
conscious,
Like, ask him to define what a troll
like
is.
there's a conscious.
Wow.
He can't.
In
No, he
which
won't do it.
What about it?
and pantheists
Can
don't
you
make the claim that the
get?
universe
So
is
he's
moral.
been muting
They
people in
just
his
say
room
the
or
universe
deafening them
exists
using
and
his
is
mod
God.
powers in his room, and I think
As far
that
as I know.
persists to the
Well, I don't know
rest
about-
It's
I
of
not necessarily a moral
the
actor,
Blue
is it?
Politics
Yeah,
channel.
if you just DM me,
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we
I-
talked about
Yeah, like the
we
universe
actually had a
isn't a moral
conversation with
actor
Doobie
according
about
to
this, right?
Watch out,
And like
JJ's
Doobie
about to
said that
destroy
there's just
blue
like the way it's set
politics
up
just
right now
like
that you
me.
can't, and like they want Darth
There's
to be able
different
to deafen
kinds of
people in his room.
pantheism.
He's like, why would you
There's
let him do that?
naturalistic
Just let mute people if he really wants to.
which
Don't
is
deafen
more
him.
like
But he said like
Spinoza's
this is
and
something he like dealt
Einstein's
with
sort of
Darth, and
version
he's
of
giving Darth that
pantheism.
power
And then
in
there's
his
the
room.
sort of
Darth
classic
cries about the
pantheism,
fact that
which
people like make
which
him
treats
rage.
the
So, and obviously
universe
he doesn't
more
want
as a
people
sort
seeing
of
his fucking meltdown.
you know,
He starts crying
Yeah,
about
he's
how he's being
monistic
doing it because
like
he thinks
one
they're
I don't know
recording.
about all
totality.
that.
Yeah.
That's kind of
But
irrelevant. I
He
don't
comes
know
in
what
here under
morality
soccer
really has
counts
to
as
do
well,
with any of it.
and he listens to.
No,
people
because
and has
because
to
the
it, so.
claims that the gods, okay, the claims that
It's just
you've got
ironic, to
a
be fair.
single
What's
god which
interesting
is
is I've
benevolent
heard
or
him
omnibenevolent.
say that
There
there's
is no
overt-
answer to the problem of evil
trolls,
within that
so it
framework.
sounds like he
If
kind
you
of
were to make the argument that
equivocates
you've
on
got some sort of
trolling
tyrant
That's
god
and
that's not really
denying
moral,
God.
then it wouldn't be an
Actually,
issue.
there are a lot of
Well,
mean,
a
he calls
troll
me-
to
You must know that
him
there are
is
answers
just
to the
somebody
problem of
that he
evil.
can answer questions.
Not
Or anyone who
satisfactory.
moderates him.
Well,
Like, if I moderate him
I've
for
certainly
being
not heard.
uncivil, he calls me a
What does
troll,
that
and I was
matter?
like, dude,
Because you need a
literally just called this
satisfactory
person
answer
tranny,
to
like, you
debunk
can't
the
be doing
argument.
stuff like that.
Great,
Well,
great
what's wrong
video,
with
by
just
the way,
saying
Tom.
what
And
God
I
does is
think
good?
what's funny is at the end,
We're saying
he
what God
demands that
does is
somebody
good
apologize.
comes into clash
Yeah, that was
completely
me.
with the
I
person's
made
own
all
morality, and it's very easy to point out in loads of circumstances.
The bigger problem with that,
Yeah, he
JJ,
called
is
someone
that
a
you're just
fag. Yeah,
creating
I was like,
yourself
you
an
can't be saying that,
analytic
you have to
identity, right?
apologize.
Yeah.
Which would just be a tautology by definition.
and he used
What's wrong with that?
multiple
It's just
like
a tautology.
homophobic,
It's uninformative, right?
like slurs,
So you
I
just
guess.
lose
Yeah,
this
I've
and
called-
vote something
I've
like a
called him
useless
that before.
dilemma.
Well, yeah, same with trans people.
It also
Right.
doesn't fit into what the definition of
Very
moral actions
homophobic,
generally
very
is
trans.
conceived as.
See,
as
he
well.
won't engage
You
with
Because
mean
in which
according
case,
to
like,
humans?
I
well,
debated
of
him
course, according
once
to humans,
on
but humans,
guns
as far
because
as
he
we
came in, I
know,
was talking about like how I go shooting and stuff, and I
are
was a
moral
skeet shooter,
actors
and he came in because obviously
that make
being an
informed
American,
moral
he assumes
choices.
that as a Brit we're not allowed to own
And
firearms.
when you've got
Well,
when you've
And I
got
slapped him
complete
around like a fucking
consensus,
bitch.
for
I was
example,
like,
like
yeah,
the
you don't know
trolley
what you're talking
problem, in
about.
which
Try
no
telling
one will pull the
me to
lever to kill 5
own
people
defense.
instead of 1,
And I just went
or
through
at least
you
they would,
assume-
fucking
unless
ballistics, like
okay,
charts
the
on
only
ballistics
exception
and all
that
that
some
kind of
people would
shit.
do
And
it
I
is
was
they
like,
say
Lots of
if
exceptions.
like you don't
yeah,
use it.
okay, the exception that most people would say is if the one person is someone that I care about and is close to me, I might pull it. However, it's still morally inferior.
But yeah, he's a fucking
Why
idiot.
is it
I can't
morally
stand him.
inferior?
He was talking
Because
about
the amount of damage to
someone, I don't think
well-being is
anyone caught it. He
higher,
was talking
or at
about
least
someone
that'd be
called
the
Mike
main
Fall,
argument.
and he
Where
was
you'd make
saying
the
how no one
argument
should
that the
speak to him.
Oh,
It's
well-being.
What if it was
Well,
one
there's
child and
actually
5 adults?
a recording of Mike Fall
Does that
getting
change
Darth
things?
to concede.
Does that change things? No.
It was on Paracus consistent logic.
For some people, it does.
I'm not sure if anyone's still got that.
I doubt it.
Yeah, that was the most brilliant.
I really
the way
would
Vic
for
I
some
mean,
people.
in the case
yeah,
of
Ray's
hell, you
right.
can
Like,
assume it's all adults.
people who say that
It's-
they like
well,
Mike
it's a bit of a
Fall has these like
standardization.
waves of total
I mean,
rationality.
if you ask
despite
if you
his
ask like, there's a number
and
of
that
adults, I'm
recording that
sure,
Ray
if
is
you
talking
ask them,
about is probably
would you
one of the
give
most
your life
brilliant
for a
fucking things
child,
on the
even if
planet.
you didn't
In
know
fact,
them?
I think I could
And
probably
there's a
find
number
it
of
on
adults that would
Facebook.
say, yeah.
Okay, and how
I
many
don't
of
know
them
if he
would
was
say
punk
yes?
as
I
it
would
all
flip
was.
the switch to kill
That was a good
5
one. It's
people
like
I
30
don't know
minutes
to
of
save one
Darth
child I
trying to
don't know.
fucking do his script and just be
I sure as
I'm
fuck
not
would.
sure.
destroyed.
I'm not sure.
Dredd, are you a moral realist?
What's up, bitches?
No, I think morals are
up, guy?
generally
What up,
societal.
Does anybody know where
Well, they
that
end up
recording of Michael
being
Fall owning
they're subjective,
Darth Dawkins
which is why you see them change between societies.
Because that was fucking brilliant.
Oh, well, I guess you can be a subjective moral realist, but you're not. You're a
I
moral
don't,
anti-realist
but
of some kind.
I like just going back to like
cognitivist,
the debate with Alex Malpass and that. I like how
you just want to stay with
interactions
subjective.
with Malpass are going up
Yeah.
and up and up every time he tells the story.
I mean, it could be the case that there is, moral
I've
realism
debated
is
with
correct,
this
I got
atheist
it.
and
PhD
I got the
on
recording
doesn't
in my
20
require a god.
times.
It could just be
Yeah,
some
he'll say
natural
he'll
law
say
that
you don't even have
we
to be scared
ought
about
to be doing
answering
just by purely
PhDs, and
existing,
like
and it's
PhDs
it's
can
our
seem very
fallible nature
sophisticated, but
that
you
although it
have
does give us
the ultimate
intuitions as
smartest
to
PhD in
those moral
existence, and
laws
that's
and moral
God or
oughts,
whatever.
it
But like
doesn't
at the
give
same
us
time, when he's
perfect
arguing with
understanding of it. That's
people,
why
he'll
we do
say,
find
"Do you
a lot of
accept what
commonality, but
a
also a lot of
PhD philosopher
differences.
says?" Okay, then
Yeah, there's plenty of
Van Til,
non-theist
Van Til
moralists.
is correct or
But
whatever.
if you are
Were you there when they tried using like
why do
a
you
guy
say
like
that
who was a doctor of chemistry or
pulling
something,
the
and he was like,
lever,
this guy doesn't evolutionary
or not
biology,
pulling the lever,
so
whichever
therefore it must
is
be right.
one is more moral than the other? If it's
Because
subjective.
you have mass
just a
you have
fucking
mass
idiot.
agreement on it.
Man, I'm surprised John knew how to
So
record
far
it.
as I
That's
can go
crazy.
across to
I was
What do you
just
mean by
much every
subjective then?
single person,
I was just
and they
getting ready
agree,
to type that in text chat. No,
then
we
it's
he
then I can
recorded
make
it,
the
but we had
statement
to
that
like
it
walk
seems
him
that it's
through
What if the
like how
one
to
person
push
was
it onto
Einstein?
his phone. You guys
We're
remember
talking
that?
about morality by
Right. It was an
consensus.
hour-long
in
process
most cases
of
morality by
explaining how
consensus is
to
how things work.
copy
In
a
most
file
cases, what are the exceptions?
or find a file. It was
Oh,
and it was
sorry.
so
Like
annoying
in all
because
cases, that's how
he could
it's
obviously play it
manifest in the
back
world.
through the
Yeah,
mic, right?
morality by
Someone else could
consensus
have
seems
recorded.
to be
By
how
the time you
everything's
got
ran.
that third-hand copy or something, it
That's
would
the
have
way
been
it should be.
fucking awful.
It's the best way we found.
That was just the funniest shit. Like even funnier than Mike Fall owning Darth
I mean,
Dawkins and
what's
getting
the
him to
opposite?
concede.
I mean, the
Was
opposite
the
would be
conversation
some
immediately
sort of
after that
tyrannical,
that was like
I
everybody
guess.
was
I don't know
just
if the
super
opposite
pissed
would
at
be
John
necessary.
because he didn't know how to get the file off of his phone.
Also, by consensus is
I need to
open to
figure out how to
evolution by
record
good
from
argument,
mobile.
as we've
I've
seen
had
in,
times where I've wanted
for
to,
example, like
but
slavery and stuff.
There are apps
Which leads to
to do
better
it.
outcomes in the end,
I'm just
or at least what we
fucking
conceive to be
lazy.
better outcomes.
Can we get back to the problem of you and my CEO
It's
example?
blocked in my country, BB.
I think we all agreed it wasn't
Isn't this supposed to know
analogous.
these videos?
Yeah.
It's probably a terrible example, and your connection is garbage again,
You're
Tanya.
blocked
I
in my
wish you
country,
had
dude.
a solid connection.
oh, that's weird. Yeah, it is.
I mean, did you hear what his
I mean, you
CEO
can just VPN that
one
shit.
was? Were you here?
I wasn't listening. I was just vaguely
But
listening to it.
it's not enough.
Why is it okay? He's asking why it's not analogous. Because the
I think
CEO
the
did
annoying
not
thing about
make
Darth for me is the fact that he
the
can't say my name
employee,
properly. Like he
nor
thinks
did
they're
he
too
make the
easy there.
motivations of the
Not
employee,
an I.
nor did he make the world that
He
they
says
operate
VV?
in, nor
He
did
just
he
goes
make their
Viv,
desires.
like Viv.
God
I
makes all
don't
of those things
understand.
when it comes to humans,
Just
and
tell him
knows
it's
the
short
choices
for
they're going to make,
Vivian.
and
You
makes
know,
them
I'm glad.
anyway. So as a
Your
result, he's
lesbian
directly
captain,
responsible for
man.
what those humans do.
I'm
There was
glad.
someone.
In the CEO
Yeah,
I'm
that
glad.
case,
makes
it's
no.
not
Yeah.
in the
Bimbo
CEO
with a
case.
Y
That's
instead of
not
an
the
I.
case, right?
Yeah.
If you
So
wanted a
Chat
more
hold on,
analogous
hold
thing,
on.
concrete.
No,
No.
stop.
I'm
Stop.
glad
No.
Al was there
No.
to
We
help
I'm
don't
hold
need a
giving
down
you an
Al.
monologue.
Because that
analogous
fucking
We don't
example.
butter
need you to
dude just kept
monologue.
Concrete.
saying
No one
dumb
wants to
shit.
hear you.
Relax,
So
dude.
calm down.
Just
Thanks,
An
Jovonn,
relax.
by the
analogous
way, for
example would be
reminding me
making
about
an
the
AI and knowing
libertarians
what
or
its
rogue
choices
guy.
were going to be.
Sometimes
Come
I
That
think
on,
would
in
be
this
bro.
box
analogous.
This
and I
is fucking
forget, like, oh yeah, I can
painful.
use
Just chill
like
out.
other external
So
arguments.
here's the thing,
So
right?
thanks about that.
Eureka!
CEOs
That's funny.
can't make human beings, right?
Correct.
The
Yeah,
only
Eureka. It's a play off of
entity
Eureka. Like
in
Eureka,
existence
you know.
that can
Uh,
create human beings besides God would be parents,
My
right?
main aim is to make him
So
have a heart attack on voice call. That's what I'm going for.
And he's cut out.
It's gonna be great.
I think he's done trying to call you.
I mean,
But
I
if
don't
he
even
does, you should
understand why he
definitely
still
record
thinks
him.
this is somehow analogous. The
I can
CEO
make him
doesn't
engage with
beam
me because I
into
just have
me
to
my
sit there and just keep
desires from the
moderating him.
day I'm born. God
That's
does.
the first time
So,
Darth
like,
actually engaged with me in like a year and a half, and now he's not
the
going
only
to do it for
slight
another
bit
year
that
and
is
a half.
analogous is that there are
When was
rules
that? Today?
that you're meant to
Yeah,
follow.
today.
But
Just
But
for
God
You guys
today.
makes
want?
you
I
knowing
have
you're
a
not
bunch
going
of
to follow
friends
the
who
rules,
have never
so
spoken
God
to
would
Darth
still be
before, but who
the one who's at fault for
Chance
making you
universe,
in a way that
John.
you wouldn't follow the rules.
did you get it recorded?
So,
Was it any
Well,
good?
it's not
I
analogous,
think
but
it's
it still
recorded.
he
doesn't
has zero
Hey,
separate
can you
bugs to
hear
the
do.
me? Can I get a
CEO
mic check?
from
yeah, you've just
It's funny because right before
The
we
CEO
were
is still
listening
responsible
to
for everything that happens
him
within
in
the
his
company.
room in here.
No, Concrete
he
said if they were to
said
work
that he's
outside
gonna
of the
go up
rules
to
of
the
the
other
corporation.
room where he doesn't have mods, and he's
So,
going to go
the
show
only
that all
way
these fucking atheists are
your
cowards.
argument against my
Yeah,
analogy
he
could
DM'd
work is
like
if
one of the
there
mods
was
in here that was
another
close
way
enough,
that
like to
someone
go
can
put up an
create a
announcement or something.
being the way God does.
Nice.
So what we can
Instead of
do
presenting
is
an argument
relax,
that we
relax,
couldn't deal
relax.
with,
That's the
we
only
just
because that's your
yelled
quibble,
at him,
right?
right?
There is no other way to
Yeah,
create an
I had
analogy
asked him
on
about
your
if he
basis
can
of
have the same beliefs he
analogous
has now in the chance
unless
universe,
there is
and he started ignoring
another
the question.
creator that
Then
can
he eventually
create
tried to answer the question. He said,
beings who
"Yes,
have
because
their
your
own.
God's unique.
could,"
Hold on, relax,
because
relax,
it's an
relax.
incoherent
Which have their
question,
own autonomy, right? So that's why
and
you
then
tried to use
refused to explain
AI
why it was
as the only
incoherent and just kept
scenario
asking
in
me
which
about
you
my
could have an
atheism.
analogous
Yeah, that's what he
situation.
does.
AI does have
But
autonomy.
unfortunately, can you just shut the fuck up?
And eventually he left.
Is that possible?
He didn't even stay in to try
Sure,
to ask any
but
other
All right, thank
think
you.
AI doesn't
atheists
have
any
Please
autonomy.
try it.
questions. He
Please
just
try
ran
it.
down back to his room
All right.
where he has
So,
mods.
since that's
Oh
your
my God.
quibble, I will address
That's
it very
adorable.
simply. We can move now on to a
adorable.
product created by
Well,
a
we did
company,
so good. We
right?
went in there and
Why
And
literally
couldn't the
kicked
we
his
answer
can't
be
ass.
add
that God
agency
created a
to the
chance
product,
world?
so we will have to use the
No, not
consumer
God created a
of the
chance.
All of
product
us, especially
as the
Jovonn.
agent,
Why?
Jovonn
Why
did
are
which
they
would
created
the
create the analogous situation of
No, it
God
wouldn't.
creating humans. Now,
Why
Jovonn.
can that
if
be the
I
answer?
create a product and a
Oh
consumer
my God. Watch, they're
misuses the
talking on topics
product
he
or
knows
use
nothing.
it for an
No,
intention
seriously, why
not
couldn't God
stated
create a world of
in the
chance?
operation
That's not the
manual
point.
or
Sure, the
within
question
the
is whether or
details and
not you can have all the
specifications,
beliefs you
then that
have now in the
company
chance
again
universe,
is
or
not
in
held
one that was not
responsible
created by
if
God.
I take a
The
radio
I
God
don't
that
get
he
it.
that's not
believes in
waterproof
anyway.
You
and I
elaborate?
decide to go
God
underwater
that he
diving
believes in
and
anyway
with the
would not
radio
create a
so
chance
that I can
universe
listen to my
because he
tunes
has
while
a
I
plan,
die.
like
Now,
a plan
if I'm
for
electrocuted
salvation and
to
everything.
death or if the
This
And
should be
radio
fun.
stops
Oh, so it
working,
would work
no
against
one's going to
Darth,
go
but
back
it
to the
wouldn't work against
company
an
and
intelligent
say, yo,
person.
what the
Well, no,
fuck?
before
Right?
it's just an
Same way we
epistemic
look at
issue,
God.
Sugar. It's just like
Most normal
questioning
human
whether or not you
beings
can know that
analyze
your
individual
God exists,
actions
or whether or not you can know
as
that that's the
those
world you live.
of the person who
So part of it,
perpetrated those actions.
Sugar,
The only
Marco,
fucking
is
people on
that do
earth
you think you
who
have
look at
there are
God in any
reasons that
other
you
way
believe what you
are the
believe?
idiot atheists trying to make
You
a
think there are causes to
specious
what you believe?
argument.
Okay,
No.
that's
You are
still not
literally a
analogous.
waste
Never
of
mind.
time.
No, concrete,
Fuck
still
off,
not
Marco.
analogous. What would be
Well,
analogous if someone came up to me and said, I want
obviously the
your
causes of God are
non-waterproof
beyond our
radio, and
comprehension.
I am going to
Gotcha.
jump into a
Causes
bath
of
full of
God?
water with it, and then I gave you the
I
radio. That would be
get the fuck
analogous,
out,
because
would you?
your
But
God
see,
apparently
what
knows
the
the
causes
life
mean?
choices we're
When
going
I
to
say
make.
causes, I mean
Stupid.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
stupid.
hey,
God's
that
creation.
still
I'm talking about
doesn't
his
explain
beliefs.
children
Cause,
getting
you know.
Nobody's
cancer.
talking about
Hello, do you guys
Stupid.
hear me?
fucking
That's stupid
God.
as well.
This is why it's stupid.
Well, then
You
we're
guys
not
hear me?
Now
doing a
the
very good job
gaslighting
explaining
starts.
what you're.
Now
What
the gaslighting
What
Oh
did
yeah,
I ask
I'm
you?
gaslighting you
What
by
did I
pointing
ask
out the
you?
fact that your
What
God is
did I ask you,
omniscient and
Marco?
as a result
said if
is directly
I believe
responsible
in
for everything
anything,
that happens.
basically.
Sorry, but it's
And you
according to
said
your own
no.
doctrine.
Sure.
Again,
Okay, fine.
for
Yes.
you again to bring up
Do you
this
believe that?
quibble, that shows the only
Yes, I
way
believe
for
in stuff. Okay, go ahead.
rise
You're
is
breaking up, concrete.
another.
You're lagging hard.
Yeah, we can't. You really need to sort out your connection.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not a
that's
quibble.
actually
It's
actually his
massively
God.
important.
Again,
Concrete, go yell at your ISP.
Again, your quibble is another argument that in order the way to create an analogy regarding the problem of evil is if we create a particular creator God who is also omniscient. So all you're doing is saying in order to create an analogy, you have to have another God where there what the fuck? We need another God in order to create an analogy. That, sir, is unreasonable, illogical, and bullshit. You are gaslighting.
Give me a single monotheistic God that's not omniscient.
Thank you.
Just one.
You're gaslighting.
Okay.
The quality of
Concrete.
omniscience.
As far as I know, you're Christian.
I'm gonna say this one last time. I'm gonna say this one
omniscient.
last time, and I'm gonna leave you alone because you're like a waste of time. So the quality of omniscience has nothing to do with the actions of the agent, the individual agent. The actions of the individual agent are separate and apart from the omniscient God. If you cannot figure that out, then I cannot help you. You are
they're not.
purely and totally a waste of time.
Okay, cool. So according